This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
365 Sports is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
365 Sports is also brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952. Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Now here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. Happy Halloween.
Edition of 365 Sports. All right. We have such a great special effects team here. Craig, just want to shout out that open was directed and produced by Andrew, Brandon, and Garrett and Logan. They did a great job of it. It was dark in here for a long time. Andrew carved the pumpkin, and I am embracing Halloween for the first time since I was 12 years old.
Are you now?
I am. Look, I have decided that I was too negative a person about a lot of things, and I need to turn that around. I'm on the back half of life now at 45. So I'd rather do the back half happy. So Andrew asked me to dress up for Halloween and wear a jersey. I don't own a jersey because I'm the kind of guy who's built like a pathetic dude who would wear a jersey. It doesn't work for me.
They don't sell a lot of O-line jerseys, right?
No, they don't sell a lot of O-line jerseys. And like, if I was wearing like a Dak Prescott jersey, they'd be like, oh, buddy, no, you're not pulling it off. You know, I would love to wear like CeeDee Lamb. I'd rock CeeDee Lamb, you know, all the Florida State guys or whatever. But
I mean, you can.
It just doesn't. It's not my look. It doesn't look good. I think it looks sad.
So what is your look?
So my look today, my costume is I am Dave Portnoy.
Portnoy, okay.
Yes. So Dave Portnoy, and they made me. I have to do a pizza review of 7-Eleven pizza. So
looks really warm.
It's not warm. I got it like 30 minutes ago, and it is
2 bites. Everybody knows the rules.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the crust. You got to do the crust. Yeah, that is.
Is that like Connecticut's finest?
It's not. It's definitely not. It's I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's cold pizza. So, 5.2. I don't know.
On a scale of,
I guess it's 10.
Yeah, 5.2 for Central Texas 7-Eleven hour-old pizza. That's actually not bad.
It's really not. Like it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and I was worried because a lot of these bits involve me eating really crappy food.
Yeah, they do.
In order to fully inhabit the character of Dave Portnoy, I will be pandering and then saying dumb things from a supposedly smart guy's mouth, like you should play golf in lightning storms and sign a waiver and all that stuff. So,
well, I mean, I am not as in the spirit. I'm glad that you have embraced Halloween on a different level, because you were, very much a stick in the mud about holidays. So that's good. I would have embraced it. I simply didn't have anything to turn to.
Yeah.
All my stuff is back in East Texas. So anything I could have grabbed, and I thought maybe there's some stuff I'd carried over here long ago, but went searching through the closet and the utility room and had the mask from last year. I was like, I'm not going to wear that again. Although I thought about it for a second, but I had that, but the strap was messed up on it. So now I was like, okay, well that's busted. So next year, Lord willing, right? Next year we're going full out, and we'll have everybody like with notice to even the producers can all be dressed up. We'll have a camera on you guys at that point, I'm sure. And but kudos to Andrew for having the idea, and we'll fully embrace it. But I'm glad that you've embraced it, because that's a big step forward.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I'm never going to change my mind on parades, but I've backed off on holidays. Like I was a bit of a bah humbug guy about Christmas too. And my wife loves Christmas. By the way, tomorrow's her birthday. Happy birthday. She is turning 31. And that's what I'm going to say.
+9.
Yeah, you said it, not me. But yeah, her birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Amanda. I know she's watching right now because she wanted to see the Halloween open.
Oh, I mean, -9.
But that would make me awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
And very fitting of the costume as well.
No, too old.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But no, I just decided, like, I've started enjoying all this stuff. And part of the thing is I realized I'm even cooling on maybe, having kids a little bit too, which I was always really bad about.
A little breaking news liner here.
Yeah, mostly because I was just grumpy for no reason. There's just no reason. I was the world's youngest curmudgeon.
Am I on Love Island right now or something? She's done a number on you.
She has. Yeah. And it's great. I'm different. I'm happy. I'm relaxed now. And, I'm still crabby about certain things like Olive Garden and parades. But, if I keep that into like a small thing, as opposed to this smorgasbord golden corral of dislikes that I had before, this is no way to go through life. So,
yeah.
And also, I do believe that one of the reasons that we are in this like gridlock of society of like, there's two sides to everything and and we're all mad at each other, is because we can't on both sides admit we were wrong about something. And so I would like to set the example of admitting when I'm wrong about things, because I think it's a good thing. And when you do admit you're wrong, it's kind of a weightlifting. And since I'm married, I'm not right most of the time anyway. So what am I chasing?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I'm glad you're embracing it. So, here we are, folks, and hope you're having a happy Halloween. And thanks for joining us, and all the usual hello, and hit us up with super chats if you got a specific question on your mind today, and hit us with that like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we are here to hopefully make your afternoon go by faster and get you to trick-or-treating here pretty quickly. So thanks for joining us.
Yep, absolutely. So right into it, Craig. I thought we'd start off before. I mean, there's some big news, Sam Leavitt and Chris Woodward and all these different things we'll get to. But there was a game last night of a very good team and a team that was struggling. And the very good team with a guy who's up for a bunch of jobs, did not win. That's Tulane got thumped by Jeff Traylor and UTSA.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple games last night, and that was one of those that we talked about a slight bit, mostly because of Jeff Traylor and the fact that there's some grumblings down in San Antonio about he and the program and the fact that they're struggling a bit this year. And so there is an element of spoiled fandom down there for Roadrunners fans, I think, to be sure. But yeah, there was some grumbling, and so then last night they go into that game and they're 3-4, and they're playing a Tulane team that's been flirting with the top 25 off and on. It's obviously got a head coach now, John Summerall, who's like the guy that everybody is talking about as being the top name for the top jobs, like LSU and Florida. And UTSA kicked their ass, 48-26, the final score. It was 31-12 at halftime. So the Roadrunners just went crazy last night and definitely exercised some demons. A pretty good game from Owen McCown. I mean, my God, 31 of 33, 370 and 4 TDs with no turnovers. That's ridiculous for him. Didn't have any turnovers. So great job there. They didn't have any on the night. I think they had a couple balls hit the ground, but they were able to recover those or didn't lose them. So they played a pretty clean game, and they are a bit of a different animal when they're in the friendly confines of the Alamo Dome. So, Jeff Traylor with a much-needed and a huge win, and the first American Conference loss for Tulane. So that conference already a pretty fun race, and now you give Tulane a loss that maybe you weren't expecting. So, yeah, that makes everything a little bit more interesting for sure. And then Jeff Traylor had some things to say in his postgame as well.
He did, and we've got video of it. Just for context, before the game, Coach John Summerall and quarterback Jake Retzlaff made some comments about the Birds pumping in crowd music. And this is what Jeff Traylor thought of that.
That season opener that insinuated crowd noise. And then to the Tulane coach, why do you think those accusations happened?
You know, Dana was kind of in fun. You know, he kind of made a little quip. I thought John's was a little more personal. I mean, European, sticks, piping in fake noise, investigations, illegal. Yeah, I just told my guys, man, we already living in his head. We already living there, so. I wish I worked for a boss that would let me do all those things. Our crowd's loud. Our band's loud. I mean, I don't know, Benny. I wish I could tell you. I hate that for John because I personally like him a ton. He was probably just trying to, he even got it where our band was scared to play tonight. I had to go tell our band. I had to send Mike over there to get our band playing again. Our band director's the nicest guy in the world. He didn't want anybody mad at him. They told him he was playing too close. When the offense gets over the ball, you're not supposed to make any more noise. I mean, exactly when is that? Everybody's no freaking huddle. So nobody can make noise ever? Like, when is that really? So our band director was scared to death to play with the band. Sosa is probably one of the main reasons we haven't lost a game here. Those dudes rock every time we're here. I had to send my GM over to my band director because John got what he wanted. He got the officials. They're undefeated in our league, man. Come on.
So there's Jeff Traylor, and yeah, I get like you're supposed to stop it, but if everybody's in the no huddle, like sometimes, but never, like the quarterback's got 5 seconds before the snap or 10 seconds, you're talking in his head anyway. So I don't. I know it's about the snap and all these things, but yeah, there's got to be a line between doing it and having the noise and then the coach complaining about it. And part of the reason I think he was complaining about it is because he's getting his ass whipped.
He complained about it before he got his ass whipped. So, I don't think it was like after the game, he was like suddenly saying it. No, it was prior to that, Paul. So, this was something that clearly Jeff had in his back pocket as something that bothered him, and clearly felt pretty empowered after winning the game to go and speak his mind. And it would have come across as sour grapes had they lost that game, and then he would have said something. So Yeah, I mean, I didn't know all this was going on leading into this game. It was more of a spotlight that was put on it after Traylor made his comments. So, I mean, I read Summerall's quotes. He said that they had practiced with crowd noise for a couple days. And then he had said, I think they pipe some noise in. I think they do a good job. I think they do. If you watch like European soccer, they've got those little sticks that people bang. They've got those things in the stadium to make artificial noise, kind of like Mississippi State when you play against the cowbell. It's a way to create more noise. I think they pipe some in through the speakers. I don't really know. I don't think it's illegal. I don't think anybody is investigating it. We just got to be ready to deal with it, so we should be prepared for it. But they have, I think it's helped them create a home field advantage. It's been loud there for people. So that's basically what John Summerall said. So you can see where he's kind of towing the line of like outright saying that they're doing something that's illegal by kind of protecting himself, saying like, I'm not sure how illegal it is, but also saying like they clearly use some stuff. And I mean, this is the kind of petty stuff that coaches argue over, especially when there's big games and big results on the line. So I don't think there's anything too controversial here, but it's certainly a big win for Jeff Traylor and UTSA. And since that was bothering him so much, he definitely had to feel pretty good going to bed last night that he not only got a much-needed win, also got to kind of shut his fans up a little bit as well. I know he kind of addressed that, the media, the fans that have been pretty negative as they've struggled here. So he got that off his chest, and then, yeah, got to kind of take a little quip back at Summerall. And I don't know if Summerall meant that to be intentionally like something to piss him off, or if it was meant to be an accusation of some sort. You can see where it could be taken that way, especially if you just read it in print. But regardless, Jeff Traylor got the last laugh last night. So noise, no noise, whatever the issue was, the Roadrunners got a big win, and the American gets more interesting.
Well, it's more interesting. Now they've got two games that are more winnable. They've got to get two games to get back in a bowl game, which coming from 3-4 and getting to a bowl game after they started the way that they did. And look, one of their games was against A&M. You know, they weren't going to win that one anyway. So like when you're trying to get to a bowl game every year is like the bar to clear, and you have to go play a guarantee game like that, you're already going to put 0-1 in your schedule most years. I mean, sometimes you might get that, but the odds are you're not going to beat A&M, right? When you have them on the schedule. And then, lost that game against Texas State, against GJ Kenny, which was a bit of a surprise the way that they lost it. So they were kind of behind the eight ball in non-conference anyway. And then now they're into conference, and it's tougher than it maybe has ever been. But now they have a shot. Look, they got to go 2-2 on the way out to make a bowl now at 4-4. And so I think that's very doable with their schedule, with their coach, the fact that they're going to play another game or two in the Alamo Dome. And I think that's good. And it was, it's really bad news for Tulane, who, if you're in the American and you're playoff caliber, you just can't take losses. Like, you have one mulligan and that's about it. Or you have to win the conference now. So they've kind of, even though they're a really good team and John Summerall is going to be up for a bunch of jobs, they've kind of put themselves on a very narrow path to get in the playoff if they want to.
Yep.
If they want to, but yeah.
Yeah, of course they want to. Yeah, of course they do. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if John Summerall was at all distracted by all the rumors, but again, good win for UTSA.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Speaking of rumors, one of the places he's probably rumored to go, or is rumored to go, is LSU. And they have officially let go of Chris Woodward, which was unofficially done earlier this week when Governor Jeff Landry said he wouldn't be making the football hire. This has a large ripple effect on this as well, because they're just about to hire a president who will have an interim AD who may or may not be there, who's now in charge as a search committee. Verge Osbury is the interim AD. He may get the job, he may not. We have a list, and we'll show you some things here in a second. But Kim Mulkey was so upset last night she didn't do her post-game press conference, which, believe me, is not like that was reported as if it was the first time that's ever happened in the world. Craig and I are here to tell you it is not. That's kind of one of her go-to moves. But look, to her credit, she can be pretty fiery and get overly emotional about some things, and sometimes her words get the better of her. So maybe it was best that she didn't. But
yeah, I mean, like, Yeah, I mean, she's skipped out on press conferences and stuff before, but I mean, this guy brought her to LSU.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean,
I get it. I'm not
So she didn't want to talk about it, and I totally understand if she was upset, doesn't want to say something, especially her, that is going to be something that she regrets with whoever's going to be leading the way. So yeah, she apparently was upset enough that she skipped out on her post-game media, and her assistant coach addressed it and said that she was very upset. So there's somebody that Scott Woodward brought in that's won a national title. Everybody's hung up on this football thing, and they almost make it sound like, and I get like the passion and everything else with LSU. Like you don't get it. Like, no, I get that it's like all or nothing. I totally understand that, but man, I think this is so short-sighted. Like this in general, like kind of the way the politicians are starting to take over, it would really frighten me as an LSU fan. I know they've been intertwined with the university, and universities across the country are intertwined with politics to some degree. But like just the cartoony nature, like the Family Guy skit of what we've seen from like the last couple days. It's like the most stereotypical goofy Louisiana politician type of a story, but it's in real life, which is a par for the course these days, I guess, to some degree. But yeah, that would have me a little bit nervous as an LSU fan that this is becoming what it is so publicly. And I mean, look around, and sure, football was not as good. They were never terrible. They were always still going to the postseason. Now, I know that's not the bar to meet, but okay, you want the national championship football team year in and year out. Dude, you have been as exciting and electric of an athletics program over the last few years as anybody in the entire country. They have ruled NIL superstardom under Scott Woodward. They have ruled it. All the basketball, like from Angel Reese to Flau'jae Johnson to Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman a couple of years ago to, of course, Livy Dunn. Like they've been NILU. They've been winning titles in like every other sport. Maybe not football because it's been a few years, but like it's not been that long since Joe Burrow and company were one of the greatest teams of all time. Like I know not all this he gets credited for or it overlaps and everything, but I mean, they were not you would think that they were just like scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point as an athletic department or something, the way it's being talked about. But I know that's a little overmodulated, and that's like the extreme of probably social media, but I get why they made the choice. I just think that they run the risk, if they're not careful, of going from a really elite athletic department to letting some goofies kind of derail things for them. Okay. That's all I'm trying to say.
I understand if you want to let Scott Woodward go because he's not particularly good at hiring football coaches.
Yes, he could be better about contractual language, even though that's par for the course everywhere. But basically,
one of the things that you could tell him is like, look, go hire the best person that you can hire, but do not get to a point where you're giving them this massive, ridiculous, fully guaranteed buyout to leave. Like finesse the contract a little bit more, because you have to acknowledge. Because it's not like you said, Craig, their athletic department has been dominant in other places, just not football, which is the most important thing.
Well, men's basketball is not very good right now.
Well, and that comes back to it. If you read Ross Dellinger's article from yesterday, John Talty also wrote about this, kind of the history of how the governor has been intertwined with LSU football. Well, this particular governor, Jeff Landry, was always mad at Scott Woodward because he would not hire Will Wade back. He liked Will Wade. He wanted Will Wade back, and he wouldn't do it because the basketball program was floundering. And look, football was fine, so he couldn't really go at him for that. Well, now that Brian Kelly hit this wall, got embarrassed at home at the end of this SEC losing streak, well, now Jeff Landry finally had the ammunition he needed with no president currently in charge, with the football coach being widely hated, and the basketball team still not really very good. He now had the trifecta that he needed to overstep his bounds and get this done, and they had a meeting at his house and all that. So he got, Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward got into it after the game. Scott Woodward's the one who made the decision this has to go because they can't continue on. And then they go to the governor's mansion to figure out the buyout. And then shortly after it, the governor's like, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out Scott Woodward and say he's not making the football hire. So it's just a mess, man. And you don't know who you're working for if you go and take the job as the AD or the football coach now.
Yeah, I mean, I know you probably really love this because of the political aspect of it, but I don't know about how LSU fans feel at this point in time. I mean, I get the firing of the football coach and all of that. I totally understand, but there was a lot to like about what LSU was doing in some other areas, and I still don't think football was like going to a level where it was like unrecognizable, but I guess maybe you felt like you were going that direction. So, okay, understandable. But yeah, I mean, the news here is that Woodward's out as of last night. That's the story. All this other stuff led to that, but that's the story, is that he's out, and it comes as no surprise because of, the comments by the governor that basically sealed the deal. And if I was Scott Woodward, I would not be wanting to return to LSU after those comments either. So whether he got fired, he left, whatever the exact details of it are, there was a point of no return after certain things were said, and he'll get scooped up by somebody in a quick minute if that's what he wants to do.
$6 million buyout for him too, by the way.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, money doesn't matter apparently.
Yeah.
Even though I would think in the state of Louisiana, it would be even more important than in most places, but it is LSU athletics. So they'll find a way, and I'm sure they have it somewhere. And they'll take that on. And then I guess the governor will go hire some coaches that don't have big buyouts.
Yeah.
I guess is that what his plan is. I don't know. But the way he's talking, they're going to completely overhaul and change the entire structure of college football coaching contracts based on this move is how some are reacting to it, or hoping that will be the case. I have serious doubts about that because it's college athletics after all. So here's the thing about, even if you try to be the change in this world, guess what's going to happen the moment you go, you know what? We're going to put our foot down. We're not going to give these $20 million buyouts and all these crazy. Okay, well then a school who wants that coach will go do it. And they'll tack on another 10 just to make sure. Like, that's the thing, is nobody's going to ever not stop trying to gain an advantage. So you could have 9 people in a room all agree, we're not going to give these huge buyouts anymore. But that 10th school, if they see an opening, we'll go hire the guy and we'll do it. Like, that's always going to be the case. Yeah. There will always be somebody willing to do the other thing because it gives them the advantage. So I don't think this is going to drastically change how agents operate these contracts or how schools operate. I would love to be wrong, because I do think it's gotten absurd when so much money is basically being lit on fire for bad decisions that people like. Scott Woodward is one of many that should have probably been punished to some degree for the buyouts and things like that being as absurd as they were. But there's a lot of guys that still seem to escape that time and time again until it just adds up to too much where they can't any longer. And I don't think that's going to change at all. I think that ADs are still going to take the biggest swings they can get to get the biggest names they can get. And if that puts the school in a pickle, that's the risk that you take. And so, I'm fascinated to kind of see what comes next for LSU. And does this change the overall coaching search? I don't think so. I don't think John Summerall doesn't want the job now because of all this. I don't know that coaches always operate that way. But I think the agents' 2 cents on this will be very interesting.
I do think that it takes you out of contention for maybe some of the bigger names.
It could, yeah.
But if you're John Summerall and the money's going to be at least double what you're making now, if not more, if you're Ryan Silverfield or Alex Golish and that's who they hire, they can still get those guys because the money's going to be too good, right? And, who knows how the leadership's going to shake out after, Jeff Landry just decides, he's done peeing on this tree, right? And so whatever, when it comes to that. But I think if you're Lane Kiffin now, the only thing that LSU is to you is leverage. I
don't think there's anything that's so crazy good there that you can't have that at Ole Miss at this point. So he's in a really good spot. I mean, maybe we don't know that with these guys, like, we don't know if one of them has some desire where they secretly dream to being the LSU coach their entire lives, or if there's one of these 5 jobs open, I'm taking that no matter what. Like, that's the part we don't have any insight on, and very few would. And so I don't pretend to know what a lot of these coaches are thinking, but I would expect this creates some pause or deliberation that maybe wouldn't have been there earlier, because there is kind of a lot of weird political vibes going on right now. But ultimately, I think if you were set on being the LSU head coach, this isn't going to keep you from being the LSU head coach.
No. I think that if they were going to swing for the fences on a guy like Lane Kiffin, he's probably out of it because he's got the structure he needs where he is. And Florida's probably a little bit better off than LSU, and this is chaotic. But look, they're still, if they make a pass, to try to get him, then, he'll use that as leverage against Ole Miss or Florida or whoever else, offers him the job as well. We'll take a break on that because we got to get to Zach Barnett, but I'm sure he's got a lot of insight on this as well. One of the best when it comes to following the coaching cycle. Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com is next. This is 365 Sports.
The Baylor Club inside McLean Stadium off I-35 in the Brazos River in Waco, ready for the homecoming weekend. And tomorrow, Knox Hall tailgate will start about 8 o'clock, 3 hours before kickoff, which is about 11 between UCF and Baylor. They'll have HK Charm Bar, Kids Zone, sailgating, live music, food, friends, alums, and music. And then on Sunday, by the way, wrap up the weekend with the Bear Brunch from 10:30 to 1:30. Amazing buffet from the chefs that create such a great menu for brunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner throughout the week. Bear Mimosas also available. General Manager Nick Caldwell arrived and renovated the Baylor Club. It looks fantastic. And they also have the social hour now done right with new hours, new menu, new vibes. Extended their hours, now offering amazing shareable bites, 2:30 to 6:30, perfect after work at the Baylor Club inside McLean Stadium. It's great any day. It's homecoming weekend, so inside the stadium, they'll be rolling with that too. It's the Baylor Club inside McLean Stadium. Tell them 365 Sports sent you off I-35 in the Brazos River in Waco.
My go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf car batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Golfballs.com carries the latest selection of golf balls, clubs, and gear from brands such as Titleist, TaylorMade, and Callaway. Golfballs.com remains the world leader in golf customization. And of course, online at golfballs.com.
UBO Business Services. We are a studies-based service organization that is the best in Texas when it comes to copiers, printers, and scanners. The way we quantify that is through a company used by millions of corporations called Net Promoter Score. What Net Promoter Score looks at are your Google reviews. We have a better Net Promoter Score than H-E-B with a 65 and Ritz-Carlton Hotels with a 70. According to Net Promoter Score, if you're a 70 or above, you're considered world-class in customer service. UBO Business Services is an 86 when it comes to Net Promoter Score. You can find us at ubeo.com, ubeo.com.
It's back 0% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500 trucks during the Drive into Fall event at Allen Samuels in Waco. Check out a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with a massive $16,000 off, or a 2025 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $12,000 off, and both at 3.9 for 72 months. And if you drive a Ford, Toyota, or GM, get an extra $1,500 bonus cash. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, raise your cholesterol, and cause weight gain. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results. So if you're tired of being tired, call or go online at pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $165 a month, including lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, and follow-up visits, compared to $300 or more a month in Dallas or Austin. And you don't have to drive 90 miles one way or the other and fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T has board-certified physician consultations and will provide the best form of brand strength testosterone. Contact Petty Clinic Low T for increased energy, improvement in sexual desire and performance, mood, concentration, even a decrease in body and belly fat. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, pettycliniclowt.com.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside, Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Oh, good one.
100%. Batteries for my fleet of trucks?
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels. We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Welcome back, 365 Sports. Paul Catalina. Once again, if you missed the earlier intro, I am in costume as Dave Portnoy. That's why I'm dressed like this today, and I put my own FSU flair on it. Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com, joins us as he does every single week. And Zach, before the break, we were talking about Chris Woodward being officially fired after he was kind of unofficially fired by the governor a few days ago, but he's officially out now. How big of a mess is this for LSU that they have to clean up before they get this coaching hire done?
First, I feel some satisfaction to see Scott Woodward let go, because, I mean, wouldn't we all love to just be able to burnish our reputation as a big game hunter in the AD world by spending other people's money? I mean, isn't that the goal in life, is to get to a point where you can get rich spending other people's money? Because that's what he did. He's not paying that buyout at A&M, and he's not paying the buyout at LSU. So, although if I'm an LSU fan, I'm worried sick about what's going to happen. I think at the same time, I'm a little bit glad to see him let go. I know he got credit for Kim Mulkey. Well, she's from Louisiana, and he paid her $3 million. Of course, she took the job. He got credit for LSU's the hire he made for LSU baseball. LSU is the best baseball program there is, and they had a ton of NIL money the year they won it. So I don't know how much credit he deserves for either one of those either. So to answer your question, I think there's a chance that the LSU search is the simplest or most complicated search in college football history. All indications, and we're very tied into this LSU search, is that if Lane Kiffin or John Summerall want the job, that they've got the job. And I'd be very surprised if one of those two gentlemen did not want the job. So there's a real chance that this is a search that you and I could run. But if either one of them do not want the job, I have no idea where this goes. It could go any which one number of ways. I've seen speculation that they're going to hire the president from McNeese to come in and be the president, occupy that role. He might bring his AD along with him. Obviously, those people would just be figureheads for the people actually running the university. So I guess we should all buckle up.
Zach, elsewhere on the coaching front, Matt Rule and Nebraska agreeing to a new extension just yesterday, announcing that on the McAfee program. And I guess this would, in theory, take him out of consideration for a job like Penn State. So what do you think about the move for Nebraska and locking him down to build this thing further out? And how does this at all affect the coaching carousel, in your opinion?
Yeah, I've been told that Pat Kraft is the AD there, but Pat Kraft has kind of seeded or been – I don't think Pat Kraft is running that search at Penn State. So how central was Matt Rule to the Penn State search? I don't know. I've been told he was not at the top of the list of the people running that search. However, if you're Nebraska, you're obviously going to be worried about that. I think it's fair to criticize where Nebraska is under Matt Rule in year 3, but at the same time, they're undeniably ahead of where they've been. So you don't want to see him leave. So the deal they got to lock him up, I think, was fairly low risk. I mean, it just extends the contract he was already on with no raise. It gives him $1 million raise per year if Nebraska ever makes the college football playoff. Nebraska's still at a place where they're celebrating beating Maryland and Northwestern, so that's not really an immediate concern for Nebraska. Although it did increase his buyout, where he has to pay $15 million if he leaves, so that basically makes him unhireable for the most part. But it also increased Nebraska's commitment to him to where the buyout to fire him went from 40-50s, which is now, I guess, reasonable in these days to like 71 million is the number I saw.
Hey, Zach, your microphone's roboting a little bit there.
Oh no. Let's try this right here. It might be a little echoey, but let's just try this.
I mean, it was awesome for Halloween, but yeah. Do you want to try and just reconnect him in a second? Yeah, I can't hear him.
All right, let's just go back to us here.
Yeah,
and you guys try to work on the
come back to us.
there.
Zach, are you there? Or can you? Yeah, just let us know when we get Zach back. But yeah, with Rule, there was also an interesting thing, Craig. I didn't know if you saw this. They're stacking bonuses for him for the CFP, where it's like $1 million, but if he gets like to 3 straight, then he gets like $3 million, and it like increases every time he goes in a row, which is an interesting thing, which would also like, make him less want to go.
So bonuses for making the playoff. That sounds pretty normal, but,
like the way they stack them is like, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you make it 2 and 3 and 4 times, you're going to keep making more and more money.
But no, like, so then it's stacked, but then every time the bonus, so he makes it 3, it caps at 3 million. But then once he makes the playoff, the bonus isn't $1 million anymore; it's 3 million. So it's like it raises the incentive a little bit more.
So the more he has success, the more he gets more money. Yeah.
So like if he does it 3 times in a row, it's not usually done that. Like usually it's just every time you make the playoff, it's $1 million.
Right.
But now every time he makes the playoff, it's it's a couple million, like it more and more and more. So, all right, let's go back and try Zach again. Zach, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit dicey, but Craig,
Sorry about that.
No. It's still strange on our end. Are they saying it doesn't sound like that in the chat? Like, okay, so are you listening to it directly? Just fine. Okay, we'll deal with it on our end. So it's probably just coming through our headsets. Sorry about that. All right. But we were talking about Penn State before, and you said you don't think that Pat Kraft is really running that search.
Correct.
Why do you think that specifically? Just because he's new to the role, the James Franklin thing is so big, and that there are other people who kind of want more of a say than Pat. They're kind of going to tell him who to hire.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are these decisions are so big now that unless you're an AD, to use a sign term, if you don't have a lot of hand over your university, your president, your board of regents, your boosters, then this isn't a decision where you can go Scott Woodward this thing and say, I've got this. You guys, I'll let you know who I hire. So I've been told that they've been hired Matt Millen to run that search. And he had other people in mind.
Oh, okay. So this weekend, it's not the best weekend for games all the way around, but one is interesting is Vandy and Texas. Arch Manning is in concussion protocol. There's a lot of other stuff going on around Texas with their offensive line's not very good. They've almost lost on the road the last 2 times. Do you think Vandy can go down to Austin and get this done?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Pete Kwiatkowski kind of prefers to play break a lot, even though he's got better athletes than the offenses he's going against nearly every single week. And when they made that comeback against Mississippi State, it was just like, all right, let's just bring 6, bring 7 every single snap and see if they can block us. And Mississippi State couldn't. And suddenly they'd scored 31 points in 3 quarters and then 7 points in the 4th quarter in overtime. I don't know that he's going to play it that way against Vanderbilt. I think if you're Vanderbilt, the best outcome is an 8-play, 60-yard touchdown drive that eats up 6 minutes off the clock. I think if you're Texas, that's the worst possible outcome is not a 2-play, 60-yard touchdown drive that takes a minute off the clock. It's what I mentioned before. So my concern for Texas is that their approach is going to play a little bit into Vanderbilt's hands. And you get to a quarter, you get to the middle of the third year. Vanderbilt gets the ball to open the second half. It's a 10-3, 10-7 ball game. Vanderbilt goes on a lengthy touchdown drive to score. And suddenly, if you're Texas, you're like, well, our offense isn't already struggling, and now we might only get the ball 2-3 times the rest of the game. We've got to go score right now. That's not a position Texas wants to be in. So I think you have to press your athletic advantages and know that they're going to get you eventually. But if they do, they're going to score, and you'll get the ball back somewhat quickly. And a higher tempo game is going to benefit Texas here.
Might as well ask about Texas' counterpart there in Oklahoma. Coming off of that loss to Ole Miss, Zach, you've now got this stretch run of at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri at home, and then LSU to close out the year at home. Thankfully, they're already bowl eligible, because that might actually be sort of a question if they weren't at this point. But how do you feel about the Sooners and just kind of your expectations going in versus where they find themselves ahead of this gauntlet that's upcoming?
Yeah, it's interesting because you go through winter, spring, summer, and then the talking season, July and August, and every single Oklahoma person tells you 8-4, 9-3 would be a really solid season. Like, obviously, it'd be great to go 10-2, 11-1, but reasonable expectation 8-4, 9-3. And then now you're kind of on track to do that, and no one's happy about it because you started 5-0. So to go from 5-0 to 6-3, it'd be full on crisis mode for Oklahoma, and I think it'd be especially painful for Brent Venables to lose to Tennessee twice in a row, considering they're coached by Josh Heupel. They've got a former Sooner quarterback in Joey Halsley. Seth Luttrell's there. You've even got Landry Jones there. And obviously Oklahoma, Brent Venables fired Seth Luttrell. Oklahoma fired Josh Heupel. So it would be especially painful to lose those games. And then now you still have to go to Alabama. So you'd be looking at 8-4 at best. Your offense has degressed. As the schedule's gotten tougher, the defense is still top 5, top 10 across the board, nearly every metric you could find, but they don't ever seem to get key stops. They don't force turnovers. So they're great down to down, but they're not doing the stuff that great defenses usually do. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Brent Venables coaches himself out of a job over this final month.
All right, Zach, we got a little technical issue on our end here, and the chat room is saying I break everything because I legendarily once went in the closet and shattered a whole shelf, but it knocked us off the air. So we're going to take a break and figure that out. Zach, thanks a lot. We will talk to you next week. Great stuff. Look forward to more and more on the LSU hiring, especially, and really interesting story by Doug Samuels about Jeremy Pruitt, who has a show cause penalty in Jacksonville State to bring him on. Very, very interested to see how that goes, but people should go read that story too, because it's pretty interesting on there. But Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. This is 365 Sports.
Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat right now gets 0% APR for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500 trucks in stock, ready to roll. 0% financing for a full 6 years. Hurry up. This offer will end very early next week. Come see us at Alan Samuels in Waco, your friend in the car business. Right now, get $13,500 off and 3.9% financing, 72 months on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Lone Star, or lock in 0% APR for 72 months. The weather's cooling down, but the deals are heating up at Alan Samuel. Get hot trade-in values, low financing, limited time discounts, even on the powerful Ram trucks I've mentioned, Jeep Wranglers, and the Dodge SUVs. Truck season always at Alan Samuels. The all-new 2025 Ram 2500 is right now available. $15,500 off the toughest, most capable Ram 2500 ever built. Power, performance, and pure muscle. It's into the weekend, early next week, but get there now. Ted Teague, the general manager and CEO, David Gray runs the sales department, and the staff is ready for you at Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
I'm Camille Johnson. Johnson Realtors. We specialize in selling residential real estate agent all across our community, and we love serving all types of families. We have been in business at Camille Johnson Realtors for almost 9 years, and I have been a residential real estate agent for almost 40 years. And we love our partnership with 365. So thank you for partnering with me, and thank you so much to all of my clients who have made our company a success.
No car payments for 90 days when you bring your auto loan home to Genco. Get 4.79% for 48 months and make no payments until 2026. Plus, get entered to win 3 months of no car payments. Bring your auto loan home to Genco. Lower your interest rate, save money, and no payments until 2026. For details, go to GencoFCU.org.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
Friend of the show. Guys, just give me the thumbs up when he's in there. We'll just probably go straight to him, given that we had a little technical issue right there, and it took us a second to figure out what was going on our end and correct it. But I feel like it's been corrected now, and we can soldier ahead. So Scott Woodward's been fired. This is the initial list in alphabetical order from Matt Moscona of potential replacements for him. One of them is Florida State AD Michael Alford. I need the list there up there. I didn't have the slideshow up. I was goofing around. There we go. Thank you. Jay Artigas from Southeastern, Verge Osbury, who is the interim right now at LSU, and we're talking about him in a second. Josh Brooks at Georgia, and Heath Schroyer of McNeese. Heath Schroyer of McNeese, you heard Zach Barnett just say the leading candidate for the president job is McNeese's president, so he might take Heath Schroyer with him. All these have ties to Louisiana. And from my perspective, if they would like Michael Alford, go ahead. It's been a little chaotic at FSU, and I need some normalcy. But I still probably think it's going to be Heath Schroyer from McNeese based on what Zach Barnett just said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any insight on the AD side of things, so Zach's as good of a person with ties to go off of as anybody, and I'd actually seen that a couple of other places mentioned as well. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on the hire of the AD. I'm far more interested in the football coach, but I know they go hand in hand. So yeah, I'm sure you would like to have Michael Alford taken off your plate, and can't speak to really any of these other guys, although the Louisiana key is certainly there and very present and in your face. So yeah, that would make sense to have that be a major part of what you need to check off as far as once in the next guide is to understand the culture and kind of how everything operates around there. So guess maybe FSU fans will be rooting for this search a little bit more than they would otherwise, or maybe some other schools hoping that LSU will come calling. But yeah, be interesting to see who they hire.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure how other FSU fans feel about him, but again, they said, ties, Matt Moscona says ties to Louisiana are a key component of the hire. Here is Verge Osbury, who is probably trying to get this job, you would think. And he had a quote today or in his press conference earlier about what they're going to do, saying that the next contract and any parameters around it, they will do whatever it takes to hire the best coach. Board chair Scott Ballard confirms that confirms at the news conference. So what the governor says and what they're saying is different, because whatever it takes means whatever it takes, which would mean doing what the previous AD just did. So whatever it takes is take that with a grain of salt, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to go hire the best person possible. We have no idea who that will be. I'm interested to see if this actually does cost them a candidate. I highly doubt that it does. I think politics is ingrained in a lot of these decisions to begin with. It's just we haven't had somebody so cartoony that's been so present in our face as we have this past week with Governor Landry there. So easy chuckles in LSU's direction right now. We'll see who they hire. I think it'll be a great football coach. I have no idea about the AD position, and I don't pretend to know really many of the AD candidates that would make sense for any jobs really outside of just kind of the big names that most people know of. But yeah, this LSU carousel movement this past week has certainly been good for shows like this and the news cycles and everything. And I don't think that they're going to be able to keep it up throughout this weekend with all the games being played, but they have taken center stage certainly in the carousel talks and the other jobs doing their due diligence behind the scenes. And I don't know how much that crisscrosses with LSU's plans, but certainly I think everybody, even if you didn't have a dog in the fight, you're now interested in what the other side of this looks like for the Tigers because of just what it's looked like here early on. And is it going to be a big point and laugh moment, or are they going to have the last laugh? That's what we'll have to find out here over the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the candidates that always gets thrown out because he's a big name and people always seem to steal Oregon's coach is Dan Lanning. Well, he was on Rich Eisen and he said this about leaving Oregon.
Your interest level in leaving Oregon is less than because of this zero.
Yeah, I'm not leaving Oregon. Yeah, as long as I win. That's what I always tell my kids. Yeah. Right. If your dad wins, we'll be at Oregon. So I gotta win. Right. That's how it changes.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Look, I don't think now that Oregon's a job that you can poach somebody from like you could before. I just don't. Especially in the NIL era where they've got a big booster in Phil Knight and they can maybe open up the pocketbooks a little bit more. I don't know why. I mean, look, he was in the SEC. He's been, was he ever at LSU, Garrett? Was Dan Lanning ever there? No, but he was under Saban. He's been at Bama. He's been at Georgia. He's been a lot of places. But yeah, I don't see any reason why he would leave Oregon at this point, especially to go somewhere that has chaos that he doesn't have. I mean, he's got everything he wants there.
I can't even believe he's having to address it, honestly, because I think that's such a no-brainer to stay at Oregon. But I get why you have to ask the question, given he's got some ties to the league, and it's a league where there's a lot of great teams and a lot of great coaches, and a lot of people want to be a part of that. So maybe that's down the line in his career. But yeah, why would you leave a spot where you are already winning championships, already making the playoff, already have tons of NIL money, have seemingly everything that you could possibly want at your disposal, just to go somewhere and start back over and do it with a more crowded pool of contenders around you? Although it's kind of crowded in the Big Ten there with Indiana and Ohio State, and kind of a rotating revolving door of others that pop up and are good. Michigan, not so much right now, but obviously they've had their moments here. And the SEC is definitely a deeper league at the top, but that's pretty much all that separates it. Maybe a little bit of money, but I don't think that's probably even the case for him at Oregon. So, yeah, I think that's an easy call on his part. And unless he was some guy who's just, again, it's his dream to coach at LSU, I wouldn't think twice about staying at Oregon. So I'm not surprised that he said that, and good on him. So for anybody out there that was potentially nervous about that from an Oregon standpoint, or we're throwing his name out there, we could go ahead and stomp that out. So I'm glad he put that on record.
All right, we'll get to, after this story, we'll get to Mike Scarborough, but awful news out of Tempe this morning, and that's Sam Leavitt out for the year. His season's over. He's got to have surgery on that foot, Craig, that has been bothering him all year, and this is a bummer. And I would say, even though they're essentially kind of out of it now because of the losses they have, but I just don't see them winning more than they lose without Sam Leavitt, and at least for another couple weeks, probably without Jordan Tyson on that offense.
This is just a huge blow for them. It's a guy who is arguably full strength, the best quarterback in the Big 12. I think he probably was, or I guess now was again, but I think that he had a strong argument for that spot, and I'd probably have given it to him. Sitting here, I don't know what the podium would look like exactly, but I'm pretty strongly feeling like he would be my number one gold medal winner, and then we could have a debate on Josh Hoover or Brendan Sorsby or whoever for silver and bronze and all of that. But he hasn't been healthy for the majority of this year. Obviously, he's already missed some time. Then comes back from the injury that looked like it could be pretty serious, and wills them to a huge, huge victory over Texas Tech, and that was admirable, and that was a big moment, and thought maybe it was the start of something, and then bam, he's still hurt, and he's hurt again, and now he's obviously having to cede his time last week to some degree to Jeff Sims. So, this is a huge, huge downer for ASU. This is not what you thought when you were running it back with Leavitt and Tyson and a whole other cast of guys off of last year's team. It's really unfortunate, and I think this pretty much just sinks their chances of getting to a point where they're in contention for the Big 12. Although if you look at their schedule, they've got a good team. It wasn't just him or bust, but I certainly don't bank on them going into Ames and winning now at this point, like maybe I would have if he was healthy. West Virginia, I think you could still probably win that game at home. At Colorado, they haven't given me a reason to say there's no way that could happen. Arizona, very middle of the road team. So besides this Iowa State game, if all they had were these three games, I think it'd be a really interesting game to play. Can Jeff Sims get them to 3-0 or at worst 2-1? And now that Iowa State game is what looms largest right in front of you, and that one's going to be really, really tough. So that would give you a fourth loss overall, a third loss in the Big 12, and you're pretty much done. You're probably pretty much done at that point with 3 games to play and 2 games back of a handful of teams. That's going to be pretty difficult. I don't know what all the combinations will look like, about what the percentage chances would be, but I think you can go ahead and push them to the side now. You can go ahead and push them to the side. If they surprise us this weekend, then great. We'll slobber all over ASU and Jeff Sims' performance and all of that. But this is not good news, and I just hate it because I wanted to see what Leavitt could do. And what is likely as last year, obviously going into this, you thought that he was a high NFL draft pick candidate, and I don't think anything's changed despite the fact that he's had a very up and down year. I think he'll still be a guy we're hearing very early on in the draft, and I'm bummed out a little bit, man, because this really puts a crimp in the race.
If he is back next year, then glory, hallelujah. I think that'd be great. For
I don't see
it. I don't see it. I think sometimes these injuries are also kind of writing on the wall for, all right, go ahead and go to the league,
maybe so. He's a junior. He's getting, I don't know where he ranks amongst all the big names. He surpassed Arch Manning. He surpassed, who are some other guys in the preseason, like Lenore Sellers. Yeah. He's higher ranked than him. I think he's already probably higher ranked than some of them to begin with, but I'm just trying to think of the preseason guys. Maybe, Nussmeier, I think he'd have to be,
maybe they kind of have similar problems because I don't think,
and it's not just based off this year, obviously. Yeah. So I go off of this year for a second. I'm like, well, neither one of them have really had a great year. So I think that he'll be a name called early. This is probably the end of his ASU career, unfortunately. But, hey, maybe they get a surprise and he just loves playing for Kenny Dillingham and he's making good money and he wants to run it back. But I'd put that as the lesser option at this point, just because you got to think big picture, and especially if you're getting banged up a lot. Last thing he wants to come back again next year and then just have a repeat. You'd rather be in the NFL and just getting tended to if that's going to be the case, right? So that's definitely a bummer and puts a crimp in the Big 12 final month race because you thought ASU, especially after that win over Texas Tech, could be right back in that thing and make it interesting. But I think it's going to be really difficult to do that now.
All right, let's go to TigerBait.com's Mike Scarborough, future Louisiana gubernatorial candidate. Now that it's pretty evident that they get to hire the football coach, so I would not be surprised to see Mike throw his hat in the ring. He's as good as anybody else in the race. Mike, from the outside looking in, this looks like an absolute mess. Is it an absolute mess?
It absolutely is, and look, it doesn't do the way Louisiana is viewed to the outside world when your governor appears with Pat McAfee and McAfee's doing his water boy Adam Sandler Cajun accent throughout the entire thing, which was absolutely mocking. And what it's done to coaches at LSU, whether you thought Scott Woodward deserved, shouldn't have been the guy to make the next hire. He didn't deserve to be humiliated that way by the governor. And look, was there some things that went on behind the scenes over the years that maybe we're not privy to, political grudges and so forth? You've got a Republican. Woodward is cut his teeth as a disciple of James Carville. So there's some of that. I mean, look, we know how the Board of Supervisors is appointed by each governor, and you just we've known for quite some time, for a year, that at some point Landry was going to get his university president in. Of course, Dr. Tate went to Rutgers and he took LSU's associate AD Kelly Zinn with him, and now she's the AD at Rutgers. And it was just kind of felt like it was a matter of time for Scott Woodward and Brian Kelly getting that third loss, and the way it came down hastened things. Something that I thought that maybe there was a 10% chance that BK could get cut loose sometime this year, but probably next year. And it's I feel like I'm about to sneeze.
Been there.
It's been a long day, man.
Yeah, it's been a long week, I'm sure, for you. I mean, it's been constant since Saturday night, right? I mean, it's been probably one thing after the other that entire time.
Last night Kim Mulkey didn't even come out for a post game because the news broke. The news broke right in the middle of her exhibition game, and she was so distraught that she sent her assistant coach out. By the way, they had a run-in because the governor was made a point about the LSU women's team not being out there not standing for the national anthem.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Not full well knowing that the LSU women's basketball team was never on the floor when the national anthem is sung.
Look, I can tell you the Baylor team wasn't. They come out after. It's all about the entrance. Like that's just their run out. That's just what they do. It's what Kim's always done. So yeah, that it does look bad, and it is bad. So not knowing who the president's going to be, not knowing who the next AD is going to be, do you think that limits their candidate pool, or do you think that money talks and that stuff doesn't matter to some of the coaches?
Money talks, but you need the dust to settle. There was we got word about 9-10 o'clock last night. There would be an 8 a.m. press conference this morning. Doors open at 7. So, of course, they're real bright and early. Verge Alsbury, the interim athletic director, was there along with the 2 board of supervisors, including the chair. Ben Bordelon, who's a former LSU offensive lineman and the CEO of Bollinger Shipyards, which is a huge, huge company. And, of course, he's got 2 sons that are offensive linemen on this LSU team. is going to be a part of the search, as well as a member of Our Lady of the Lake Hospital, one of the executives there. So they're going to be the ones that are conducting the coaching search. But next week you will have a vote for the new university president. And we all think it's going to be Rouse from McNeese State. And then there's already candidates floating around to be the next athletics director. Certainly Verge Alsbury will be one of them, but they're looking at your guy at Georgia. They're looking at Southeastern Louisiana's athletic director. I think they should look at Stephanie Rimp, who left LSU for Nevada years ago. She's the one that actually is the one who hired Jay Johnson and went and found him. But it's going to be interesting to see. So you've got a lot of things that need to happen. I don't know what the order ideally needs to be. And but I think in the end, money talks, and it's still a great job. But they need to steady the ship, and maybe the governor needs to go quiet for a good while.
I don't know if that's possible based on what we've seen from him. I think he's trying to figure out how he can get more TV time based on what we've seen the last few days. But yeah, he's certainly added an interesting element to this whole thing. And what would you say Scott Woodward will best be remembered for as LSU? And do you think that he's a guy who clearly is an LSU guy who's going to be back and still a part of the family and still widely accepted and all of that? It's just like, hey, we needed a change in leadership kind of a thing.
Well, look, he gets credit for Kim Mulkey, even though you guys well know the timing was right to poach her.
Yep.
And how much of a fight there was or wasn't from the Baylor side. And Jay Johnson went and located by Stephanie Rimp, but he was the AD, and so he gets credit for her. Look, everybody in this state was couldn't believe that he went and got Brian Kelly, the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. Okay. Now, national people could have said, we don't see it being a fit. And look, you got a whole lot of media out there across the country that don't like Brian Kelly. That's just a fact. I've often wondered, is it just a fact because he's the Notre Dame head coach? But Marcus Freeman dispels that rumor, that thought, because everybody likes Marcus Freeman. He is cold and can be a bit gruff, but he was great to us. He was great for us in the media. We had access that we never had before. But did we think that he was going to be go 4 years without making the playoffs? No, we didn't. And it's we can have a whole discussion about whether he played too much golf and he left too much to his staff to do the real work. I think there's some truth to all of that. But now LSU is where they're at, and whether it's Lane Kiffin or whoever that's going to be next in line, there's going to be a lot of money spent. It's $53 million unless it gets negotiated down for Brian Kelly's contract. Now you got another $8 million going out to buy out Scott Woodward's year contract that runs through 29. You got a men's basketball coach that needs to make the NCAA tournament this year. What are you going to do with him? He's got some years left. So there's a whole lot of money that's going to be going out the door in the LSU athletic department.
If you were on the search committee, where would your focus be?
I've said for months when we've just been on our shows talking about if something were to happen, Eli Drinkwitz has been my guy for quite a while. But certainly, and I heard y'all talking about it while I was waiting for my spot. My first call is to Dan Lanning and let him tell you no. And the same things that he said on the Rich Eisen show is the same things that Lane Kiffin's going to say. They're all going to say those type of things. I know there's the Phil Knight Nike money. I get it. But is he able to track enough athletes from the Southeast to break through and finally win a national championship at Oregon? Or does he get to the point where he thinks the same way that Brian Kelly did? He needs to get to the Southeast or a school like LSU to get that national championship. It's very early. He's young. He hadn't been there long. So we'll see. I think there's a whole, if you polled the LSU fan base, Lane Kiffin would probably be number one. Sumrall would be I think your next tier down. But what was the final score of that game last night?
Yeah.
But I think Drinkwitz, Braum at Louisville. But of course, like Clark Lee, that's his alma mater. To me, I would take Drinkwitz over Lane Kiffin, but I know most LSU fans would take the opposite.
As a reporter, would you take Lane Kiffin over Drinkwitz? Just strictly reporting, just for the craziness of it all, for selling paper purposes.
Yeah, I'd take Lane Kiffin in that case.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But then it's kind of like, you get a little spoiled, man. It's like, who's going to give you the most access? I mean, we got to see entire scrimmages under Brian Kelly, something we'd never seen before. DiNardo did a little bit of that, but most football coaches at LSU have been operating under the same rules and periods and access that Nick Saban put in place, 25 years ago. But Brian Kelly gave us a lot extra, but that doesn't matter. Certainly Lane Kiffin would be entertaining. The press conferences are legendary. But look, man, Eli Drinkwitz has got some personality. I mean, some of my fellow LSU media people call him a weirdo. I think he's funny and got a dry sense of humor, quirky. Mike Leach was quirky. I don't mind any of that. It makes the beat a lot fun, a lot of fun.
Well, Mike, good luck in covering the search. It's already gotten weird. And, just for historical purpose, for people who are wondering, why the governor, going back to Huey P. Long, is so ingrained in LSU football, it's really and it's more than any other state because, look, here in Texas, they have a bunch of schools that they have to make happy, so they can't insert themselves in all of them. And in Florida, there's a bunch of schools they got to make happy. Everywhere else that surrounds them, that's either a conference or a neighboring state or a similar football passion, they have multiple schools. Even Tennessee has Tennessee and Vanderbilt, so you can't really jump into that fray. But in LSU, in spite of there's a bunch of colleges that play football, there's only one that plays power conference football, and that's LSU. And that's always been the case and will likely always be the case from now until forever. So it makes it more acceptable for the governor to jump into these things, even though at no point should they ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Louisiana Lafayette graduate, grew up in the Acadiana parishes. And so, but look, it's you've had different governors that graduated from different schools in the state of Louisiana, but LSU is a different bird, and they need to be seen in the suites in Tiger Stadium on game day. They need to act like they follow it, even if they don't. You've got 102,000 people, and then in the stadium for big games, and you've got another 40 or 50,000 just mingle in the parking lot on game days. It becomes a huge city. That's your voters. So it's a big deal. But I think Jeff Landry poked that bear, and despite this being a red state, if there's not a whole lot of polling done in this state right now, but I think if they did a poll of even his voters right now, his approval rating would be, I don't know, somewhere between scurvy and a root canal.
Mike Scarborough. Mike, good luck covering the story. You had did the commit you was going to commit, did they go to LSU?
Yes, Lola Lampley, the 4-star, 5-star, depending on where you look, wing, just committed to Kim Mulkey in the LSU basketball program. So that happened right when I was going live with you.
All right. Hope she didn't like shooting threes.
Yeah.
Kim doesn't like it. She would have been great in a bygone era without threes.
Well, she's got a lot of 3-point shooters right now. Yeah. So they're going to be guard driven this year.
Yeah. Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com with us here on 365 Sports. Mike, happy Halloween, buddy.
All right, buddy. Y'all too. Happy Halloween.
All right. That's Mike Scarborough. One of our old friends, Garrett, loves Mike Scarborough. You've done a little work for him for Tiger Bait.
Yeah, I'll do some recruiting work for him.
Yeah, and Garrett, sometimes you get to call the recruits and say like, hey, how close are you to making the best decision of your life? You know what? War Chant or somebody needs to hire me. They really do.
You think you make that work?
I could I don't want to write anything, but I'll record an interview and I'll send it back to them and they can go, hey, thanks, buddy.
That's fair.
You know what? Mike Norvell want to keep your job. I'll get you some 5 stars, bud. I'll get you some 5 stars. I can do it. Just put me and the money people in a room. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. Craig, yeah, it is a total mess there. You reminded me of this when you sent me, your thoughts for the show today, and I've been thinking about it all week. ESPN and YouTube TV are locking horns right now. And so, as of right now, this moment, these can change in minutes, but there's a Disney blackout on YouTube TV, which is ESPN and ABC and everything else. And this causes a problem for a lot of people also with an ESPN Plus subscription, because if you have ESPN Plus through YouTube TV and you have to sign in with your provider to watch a game, then you're in trouble because your provider doesn't offer it anymore.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks to Mike for his time. Always good to talk to him, and looking forward to seeing his reporting on that LSU story as that continues to progress. But yeah, this is I guess an issue for the YouTube TVers out there. Those who watch TV through YouTube TV are not going to have college football to watch tomorrow. And I mean, I don't know the full details of all that's going to be unavailable, but anything ESPN is not on YouTube TV as of now. Is it as of now already? Is it already kicked in?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure you've probably taken notice because most of you out there are already probably lining up your day and what games you're going to watch and all that. So if you've been living under a rock, then you might want to go look real quick on what your setup is, because you might not have any games to watch tomorrow on your setup if you only have YouTube TV. So yeah, this is something that's not uncommon, us seeing these carriage disagreements and these back and forth and like, oh my God, if they don't have this fixed by Friday, there's going to be no March Madness. And then like, if Friday at 4, it's got to be done. And then Friday at 3:59, like, oh, miraculously, we've come to an agreement. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen here because we're kind of late in the day for it too. Now, I guess it still could, but yeah, this is problematic for, I guess, you, not for me. I have regular cable still. I never cut the cord because of the place I'm living. I can't really do that and make it make any sense. So I'm on regular cable and I've got some apps here and there. So I think I'm good.
I'm good. I have Hulu. Right now. Now I have used YouTube TV. Like I
know Smokey has YouTube TV, so I'm not sure how well aware he is traveling today that he's going to turn on the TV tomorrow and not have anything to be able to watch.
Yeah. Now I think that I think YouTube TV has the best setup in my opinion for when you're watching games, because with Hulu and Disney you can't, like, you can do a multi-view on the ESPN app now if you have access to it, and that's fine, but it's only the ESPN game, so you can do that. Now I did, because I had a huge discount code the first 4 weeks. I did do YouTube TV for the first month of the season, and then when the discount ran out, I canceled it because we still had Hulu. But I wanted to kind of show Amanda, let's compare and contrast and all that. And, when we get to next season, whoever gives me the best option of watching as many games as I want across different networks is where I'll go. And Disney did buy, what was it? They bought, or they're trying to buy the one that was suing them, a Fubo Sports, that had that multi-screen functionality for all the channels. So I'm sure they'll incorporate that in the app, and the Hulu app is going away. And so it's going to be Disney Plus and ESPN app that they'll do. So we'll see what happens in the next year before we change again. But yeah, this is not good considering the large majority of college football games are under the Disney platform.
Yeah, and I should clarify, there won't be nothing on. You can still get the
NBC,
CBS, Peacock game,
Fox.
Yeah, like that stuff will still be there. So there's still some offerings, but I mean, as far as who's drawing the ratings, it's the ABC, Disney, ESPN, SEC connection. So if that's where your bread and butter lies, which is where most of the eyeballs have lied this season, based on facts, like yesterday when we read off the ratings, and actually I'm glad that they've now started doing this. Shout out to Sports Media Watch that used to be pretty reliable with these college football TV ratings, and now they don't drop them until Fridays, which we're already on to the next week. Like, what's the point? You used to have them like Tuesdays, and now it's Friday we get these, so don't really get to talk about them as much, but number 1, ABC, number 2, ABC, number 3, ABC, number 5, ESPN. So I guess if you take out last week, you wouldn't have been able to watch Alabama, South Carolina. You couldn't have watched A&M, LSU. You couldn't have watched Ole Miss, OU. You couldn't have watched Mizzou and Vanderbilt. But you could have watched Michigan, Michigan State. You could have watched UCLA and Indiana and BYU, Iowa State, among some other games, Minnesota, Iowa. But yeah, you're missing out on a lot of the SEC if that's what you like most with this whole arrangement. So I guess we'll see where it goes. But hey, for once, I'm a cable guy, and I have it so much easier and cleaner and more understandable than all of this other arrangement that we've seen kind of being created over the last few years with what the best rig up is to watch all the games and get the best prices and all that. And I've heard all about YouTube TV and bundling and all these different things. And I'm sitting there with regular cable going, I got no issue. All the games are on for me. So I don't know. Are we pivoting back to regular cable? Is that what we're starting to do here now that everybody's realized that?
Well, the bundle packages are essentially going to be that anyway. And eventually there's going to be a company that puts them all back on a thing where you can just easily flow through apps, so you can watch different things at once. You don't have to go out and go back in, especially with sports, and here's the other thing that it's funny. We've got Google, Alphabet, which is Google, YouTube TV and all that, versus Disney, these two gigantic corporate titans fighting with each other. So really nobody wins in this because whatever happens, it's just going to cost more money for everybody, no matter what you do. That's what always happens. But because of ESPN's new direct-to-consumer platform, they have leverage that they did not have before with YouTube TV.
Yeah, for football season.
For football
for me, because I'm going to tell you right now, like, college basketball is great. I'm not paying $30 extra a month just for more college basketball games. That's not for me. I know for a lot of people, you want to watch Iowa State play Rutgers or whatever in non-con. Like, I'll just read the write-up and I'll watch the highlights and do that and do my best to keep track of it. But I'm not continuing the ESPN, what is it called again?
What direct to consumer, whatever it is, the ESPN, whatever.
I always default to ESPN Plus, but that's not technically what it is. But yeah, I'm not paying the $30 after football season. Right. I mean, they better offer some more than NBA and NCAA basketball because that's not my my main thing.
They're going to have to box people in.
Right.
Really
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to pay.
Trying to do.
I mean, I'm getting rid of Peacock as soon as football's over with because they just lost WWE and they've got, middling offerings now for a little while longer. But like the main things that made me subscribe to Peacock for that specifically, well, that's not even on there now. And what they have left over is not justifying the same price that I was paying for a third of what it was.
Say you want to watch a movie that goes to Peacock, you could pay a couple dollars more.
Pay $3 on YouTube and just rent it or something.
You could just rent it. So if they don't have something that you
they
need.
Honestly, they've never really, because I don't watch a lot of NBC shows to begin with. Like, I can go watch Friends reruns on HBO Max or something or whatever, but or just watch it Nick at Night. It's on every single night for like 6 hours straight. But I'm somebody who I'm debundling a lot of stuff after football. So like Peacock's going out the window for me. I don't need to watch The Voice or anything like that. I've strictly got it at this point. I had it for wrestling somewhat. That's a third of what it was offering wise. And now I have it for that Big Ten game, which that's just to have another screen going with that game specifically on it, but it's not going to keep me year round for damn sure.
But like outside of a couple of the games that they've had,
they're not that great.
They haven't had
no,
they're not that great.
Like it's been good to watch Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Watch Notre Dame's like high profile games and a
that are at
game
home
here and there that are the home games, but a game here and there. So like A&M, that was a Peacock game. That was a big game, but not every week is like that for sure. So I guess it'll be interesting as the market continues to kind of evolve into whatever it's going to evolve into. Interesting to see how many people stay bundled up to some sort of combination or are just like, you know what? This cable thing wasn't actually that bad. Like, I know there's a lot of people that don't like it and you pay for a lot of excess, but we've seen money grabs for the last several years, really since COVID, right? COVID, everybody like turned greed up to like 50. And that included especially entertainment. And so, now I think when people are struggling a little bit more and not so willing to just go pay for every app under the sun, especially having to have like 6 different things to watch every game that you want to versus how it used to be. I don't think that's as desirable for people. So I don't know what territory we're entering here, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is. And look, what ESPN, what Disney's trying to do is they're trying to box people in. They are absolutely trying
Which
to box
is only going to
people.
piss me off and make me like more apt to say, well, I'll just not watch it then. I'll just miss that.
It makes me want to cancel all of this.
Yes.
Except I can't, like to watch what I want.
Well, I can't because I don't need to watch the MCU all over again or Star Wars. Like none of that. I mean, I liked some of the MCU stuff, but I haven't for about 3 years now. Like I can't think of a single movie I've cared about. The Star Wars is never my bag anyways. So yeah, they got some stuff that'll keep people tied in, but from a purely sports perspective, there's been a lot of hands in pockets over the last 4 or 5 years. And I think that's starting to turn a little bit, but we'll see. If people are going to continue to find ways to pony up and pay more and more for things, it'll be live sports. So I guess we'll find out in the next few months and years who ends up winning when all is said and done.
Yep.
It won't be the consumer, though. That you can probably bank on. It will not be the consumer.
No, none of this has ever been good for us. And no one anywhere in any position of power is advocating for the consumer.
Yeah. So YouTube TVers, you're probably already well aware, but you might want to get your ducks in a row. By tonight, I guess, technically, because there's games tonight, but certainly by tomorrow, if you want to watch college football, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. When we come back, Peyton Soysher, rankingsrightnow.com. We'll talk about some of the bigger games this week and how those things can affect it. If the Big 12, like what the path is for the Big 12 to get 2 teams in. He has a fantastic website, Rankings Right Now, where you can go in and play with it and figure all these things out. He is next. This is 365 Sports.
Ideal MRI inside the Central Texas marketplace on the southern part of Waco with what they have done, what they continue to do for you, the patient and customer. You have a shoulder that's been out of whack. You have an elbow that hurts or your knee or something in your back, neck. Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace as state-of-the-art imaging machine. They're going to get a picture for you and your doctor. See the evidence of why something doesn't feel. Either it's really, really bothering you or it's kind of sore, but you're not sure what it is. They're going to find out. And then your doctor can then take those images and then have a plan to help you get better from either what could be physical therapy, exercise in certain ways, even the possibility, yes, but at least you'll know why, for surgery. Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace. State-of-the-art imaging machine and $497 or less every single time at idealmri.com.
Back 0% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500 trucks during the Drive into Fall event at Allen Samuels in Waco. Check out a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with a massive $16,000 off, or a 2025 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $12,000 off, and both at 3.9 for 72 months. And if you drive a Ford, Toyota, or GM, get an extra $1,500 bonus cash. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code SPORTS365 to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code SPORTS365. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Welcome back, 365 Sports. Paul and Craig, and for the first time this football season, it's been too long, our good buddy Peyton Soycher. Peyton, are you in a different room now, or is this the same room?
This is the kids and grandparents are getting ready for Halloween upstairs, so I got bumped to the basement type of situation. So
okay,
and so I new room, but same feel.
Okay, good deal. I was worried that you that you did. Are you dressing up for Halloween with the kids?
I'm not. I'm one of those adults that's going to leave it to the kids. The kids are doing a full Paw Patrol theme going on tonight, so we're very excited about that. It's going to be a little bit chilly here in Denver, so I will be wearing a jacket.
Yeah, well, good deal. Good luck. This is I know it doesn't look like a costume, but it is. I am Dave Portnoy.
Okay.
So that's who I am. I had a costume. This is the first time I've dressed up in a very long time, but our producer Andrew asked me to do it, and I did have to rain in his parade on another thing yesterday, so I couldn't do it again. I had to do something.
I'm sure you really struggled to put on more Florida State gear. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean it was tough. So Peyton, rankingsrightnow.com to people who don't know, you have a fantastic website where you can go on, you can play with the rankings, you can put in different scenarios, different scores of games. You want to know how Texas and Vandy is going to affect the standings. You have an ever-evolving algorithm, which I'm sure has only gotten stronger since you have the actual data from last year on the 12-team playoff to put in and see how the committee could react. We're coming up on the first week. What are some kind of general things you've seen as you've played around with it these last couple of weeks as the teams that are playoff eligible are narrowing?
I think one of the big things that people have to consider is there's two different types of elements when it comes to this. One is a lot of people are always saying, well, what is the AP compared to the selection committee? And the answer is it's not that different, especially if you remember last year when they released the first round of the selection committee. This last year was the first year that we really dug into it, but they weren't that different. And it was this whole thing that everyone bashes the AP poll all year long is that these people don't know what they're talking about. It's all nonsense. And then the selection committee came out and said, like, it was like 15 of the top 16 were exactly the same. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people need to be focusing in a little bit more. If you're really interested in what the selection committee is doing, look at the AP poll because it's going to line up really, really well. The other thing is once we get to the later parts of the seasons, that's where like the season can really fall apart for somebody. At the beginning of the year, you can see these big swings in terms of rankings and where your preseason ranking helps you out a lot. I mean, Texas has been all over the place and a lot of people have criticized them, but they're still in really good striking distance right now. They can make a couple of nice little bumps and get into that 12 to 15 range. Whereas you have, once again, like someone like Vandy, who if you lose to Texas this week, it could really, really rock your season. And you might not have enough ground to make up over the next few weeks to get into that striking distance. And especially when you're taking into account like conference championship games, which are just going to be boosters to your resume. Those are all things to really be considering right now. But right now, I'm just really focusing on the AP poll as kind of the guiding light to what the selection committee is thinking.
Peyton, I think everybody is kind of the belief now that it's going to be tough sledding for the Big 12 to get more than one in. You got BYU and Tech playing each other here next week, so that's going to give somebody either their first or their second loss. But BYU right there at 8-0. I mean, how do you feel about just kind of where they are, just right there in the top 10 behind a bunch of one-loss teams? But granted, they've got some nice wins along the way. But what do you think about BYU, and what would alarm you or maybe also give you some positivity potentially about the race down the stretch for the Big 12 in particular?
I think specifically when it comes to BYU, they're in a really tough position because of that 10 spot. They have so many teams that are ahead of them. And I'm just looking at it right now. We got Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and those are your 4 SEC schools, right? You have Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and I'm trying to remember who belongs to what conference, but those are your Big 10 schools. Those ones are going to lock the grid a lot, right? So in terms of comfort room, BYU is kind of sitting there really nice right now. And especially, when you're going down to those final couple of weeks, I would assume that we would all agree that they're most likely going to be in that conference championship. And there's no one else really there. The situation that kind of came out last year with the Big 12 kind of makes people really nervous that all of these big teams are going to get all of those big slots. You have Notre Dame in there. You have Miami in there. You have all of these really, really big schools that the Big 12 really needs them to really come out on top and run it the rest of the way through. So I wouldn't even say from a like, hey, you need to make sure you win your conference championship. You have to win out at this point because you have to get over that hump that everyone has when it comes to, nervousness around the Big 12 on, can these guys compete with the Big 10, the ACC, the SEC, all of these schools that have done traditionally really well in the college football playoff and have dominated? Do people really get excited about that? Last year, you saw all these huge slugfests when it came to the Big 12. It was really exciting. It hasn't been as loud this year. It's still been a lot of fun, but not nearly to the point where you have, CU making noise or other teams that are really, really making big impacts, and you can't miss those games. As of right now, BYU is kind of in that position where they're going to have to run out and really solidify, or it's going to be one of those things where the, do we only get 1 or 2 that are going to sneak in at the very, very end, which would be kind of upsetting to a lot of people.
Who, in your opinion, would it be? Cincinnati, in an order, like Tech and Cincinnati, probably the most likely to sneak in as that second one, but the scenario would have to be pretty specific of BYU pretty much wins out but loses one and likely in the championship game, and then someone other than BYU wins the championship game like Tech or Cincinnati to get in?
Yeah, it would have to be Tech. I think Tech is by far the best resume after BYU. It's probably up there. Right now, according to rankings right now, the AP poll, based upon what we're seeing for the projected scores for this week, we're having BYU at 10 and Texas Tech moving up from 13 to 12. So I think they're going to be really competing for those final 2 spots. But like kind of what happened last year, there might only be one team that really slips in here at the very end. When it comes to Cincinnati right now is projected to drop out of the AP top 25 with a loss this weekend to Utah. So, and then if you kind of flip it and Utah loses to Cincinnati, Utah is kind of out. So I think that as long as Tech is staying ahead of schedule there, it's going to be really, really hard for someone like Cincinnati or Utah to really kind of sneak their way there at the very end.
Who is one of the more compelling stories to you, either because you believe they're a little bit over-amplified, or maybe they're a team that's just you feel like going to maybe make a lot of noise down the stretch?
I just think Georgia Tech is fun. Georgia Tech is solid. They're projected to stay at number 8 at rankingsrightnow.com right now. They have a lot of depth. It's very similar to Vandy, in my opinion, where they have a very strong, older quarterback that's leading the team. They seem to have all the pieces in. They have 1 or 2 exciting wins. So they've been able to sneak one out at the very end. They know what a close game feels like. I think when it comes down to a lot of these teams, right? Like Ohio State's played maybe 1 or 2 close games. Texas A&M's played 1 or 2 close games. Georgia Tech is battling every single week, but they come out strong and looking good. So you have Georgia Tech and Miami. That's going to be really, really interesting for that conference championship. And I doubt that one of them is going to get completely knocked out of the top 12, but I could be wrong, right? Once again, you're kind of in that same situation when you look at Georgia Tech and Miami and BYU and Texas Tech. Is there enough room for everyone to exist where you can get multiple big or Big 12 teams or multiple ACC teams? We're not dealing with the Clemson years anymore where they were a big powerhouse and that they were automatically going to get that spot. Who was the second team going to go to? Now we're looking at like Georgia Tech and Miami, but since they're flirting around in that 8 to 10 area, it's getting really, really interesting. So I would say Georgia Tech right now is kind of the team that I'm looking at as, can they really run this? And I think they could really do some damage in the playoff this year.
They have a favorable schedule, that's for sure, down the way, to where they're going to be favored in every game, but probably the last one against Georgia. So they could be going in the ACC title game at 11-1 theoretically, or 12-0. And that 12.
I mean, I think if they're 12-0 at that point, I think they're top 5, right? Especially if you can beat Georgia. It's going to be a really hard case, even though their last couple of games are a little bit easier. If they can beat Georgia, I don't understand how they could not be a top 5 team, and you have a Big 12 representation, a SEC representation. You're going to want a ACC representation in there as well. I know I can't remember too much. I haven't dug into it this year about where those slots go to. I don't know if they've made any changes here. I know that it was in discussions of like who gets that 5 or whatnot.
It's just straight seeding now. So
the top 4 get it.
Yeah, the top 4 straight seeded get the bye. So
thank God. Okay, great. So in that case, I think that they're even if they can win out, I think they're looking at a bye in the first round, which would be nuts if you were to say that Georgia Tech's going to be the team. Had a really fun year last year, but they're playing solid this year. I don't think that right now a lot of people have them on their mind, but if they can win that Georgia game, I don't see how they don't end up in the top 4.
This week, Oklahoma and Tennessee, that one's pretty mission critical to both of them, right? The loser's out completely, and the winner could, especially depending on what happens in front of them in the next couple of weeks, find themselves sitting now towards the bottom of the 12, but in a good spot if they can not lose again, because they both already have 2 losses.
You're completely right. So as of right now, Tennessee is sitting at predicting to win the game and move up to only 1 spot to number 13. That's because pretty much the top 10 all are projected to win. All are projected to win favorably. There's no big shifts that are happening, except for Vandy is projected to lose to Texas. So Vanderbilt's dropping down all the way to 17 projected. Texas moving up to number 14. That's a big jump for Texas. But Tennessee doesn't really have any other movement up in that case. Now, one of the things that I've noticed when looking at these rankings and anytime something looks comfortable, that's when we have madness of a weekend where you can't believe something just happened. So do I think Tennessee's only going to move up 1 if they win? No, I could see that being 2 or 3, given that there might be something else that's really happening. I mean, Ohio State, Penn State was supposed to be like the game like 4 weeks ago, and now it's just some meaningless game that no one's even thought of. Ohio State's projected to win by 18. Like, if something weird happens there, which I don't think it would, but you have Florida and Georgia, you have Ole Miss and South Carolina. These are big names that are playing each other right now. So even though you have something like Tennessee and OU, which is a great matchup, and Tennessee's only projected to move up so much, I still think that there's enough big action that's happening up top that people are getting comfortable and thinking that, as we all kind of naively assume, that, oh, that's just going to be a standard win. That might not be the case. So as of right now, you're completely correct. It's projecting that Oklahoma is going to drop down to number 25 with a loss, and Tennessee moves up 1 to 13. I can play with that score also if you'd like. And if I just flip it, so right now it's projecting Tennessee's going to win 29-26. If we just flip that score real quick and run that simulation, should have it here in a second. So now if we have that flip, right now, what we're going to be really considering is, does Oklahoma get a little bit more of a bump? And the answer is no. Oklahoma would also move to 13. So I would say, as of right now, assuming that the top 10 kind of stays the same, they all do what they're expected to do, Oklahoma or Tennessee will be that 13 seed, and they're right on that edge, right where they probably want to be going into the final stretch of the year.
Okay, well, look, that's good news for Craig. He's a big OU fan, and the last few weeks have been, underwhelming, I would say, for them. So, Peyton, who is the maybe lowest ranked team right now that you think has a reasonable spot to get in, without like having to directly factor in the conference title game? And that might not be a fair question because that's at this point a factor. But who's
lowest ranked? My dad went to Michigan State. He'd hate this answer. Michigan, maybe.
Really? Okay.
Especially if Michigan can win. So let's say the game, right? If they're able to beat Ohio State at the end of the year, they're sitting right now projected to be number 19, going after this weekend. So that's striking range. You need one or two resume, and you need a little bit of momentum, right? A lot of these rankings, as we were able to watch last year, is a lot of momentum. If you can gain momentum at the end of the year at the right time, you can jump up really fast. But as the flip side, you can also get completely knocked out of the way, right? Do I think USC is also sitting there at like 23, 21 right now? I don't think that's enough room to make all the way in. You have teams like Virginia and Louisville, and to be fair to them, this is the kind of time of the year where we see those 15, 16 teams really just have like that one bad game, and then they're never to be heard of again, right? Either that's the flipping point of their season, or there's just not enough time to make up and move up into those top tier rankings. So if you have a team like Michigan that's going to be playing top tier opponents, right? They have the opportunity to move up in those rankings more and more and more as the season goes on, where a lot of these teams that are sitting 15, 16, 17, 18, right? It's projected Vandy's going to be at 17. Maybe if after this weekend, if they were to lose to Texas, and they could still move their way up because they're still a really good SEC school. But Michigan is the one that I'm looking at that looks really interesting right now to me, because everyone else is kind of like already on the border. But if you want like a lower team that could make their way up, Michigan seems like they have one game on their schedule that could really make a difference if they're able to continue playing really well throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. And the last thing before we let you go, in the SEC, there are a couple of potential elimination games, not necessarily Vanderbilt, but if Texas loses that game, that's kind of an elimination game to them unless all hell breaks loose. Correct. And they beat A&M at the end of the year. The loser of Tennessee and Oklahoma, they're done.
They're going to be at 24, 25 or completely out.
Yeah. Yes. And USC plays Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska's getting there, but if USC does lose that game, then their outside chance of getting up into the playoffs is over as well.
Yes. So that's why that's the only big name school, right? Like, as much as people don't want to like it, you have to look at those really big names, because that's how those AP voters, that's how those playoff committee voters, they tend to look at, and they want that in there, right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but does it drive up ratings? Are they thinking about these types of things? What are they thinking of the best matchups? We've even heard it from the selection committee talk about, we're looking for the best teams, right? That doesn't mean they're looking at their resume. They don't care if you won your conference championship, especially if they're now going straight up 1 through 12. They're looking at, well, who is the best team right now? We saw it a couple years ago with Florida State, right? Their quarterback gets hurt. They get dropped out of the top 4, right? They're looking for, as of this moment, who is the best. Michigan has the luxury, if you want to call it that, of the very last game prior to championship Saturday being against the number 1 team in the country, assuming that they're continue to be the number 1 team. That is the resume booster and the momentum that they might need to convince someone, let's just give them the 12 and let them ride it out, and let's see what happens.
Peyton Soysher, rankingsrightnow.com. Go to the website, sign up for an account. There's free, there's pay, there's all that. You can do all that stuff. It's a great website. If you're a college football fan, especially in these next 2 months, this is going to be really, really fun to play with. Peyton, we'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Thanks, Paul and Craig. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Love talking to Peyton. Great guy, great website. We're going to go right into the Big 12 picks. So let's bring up the Big 12 schedule. And go through these this week. This is not around college football a banger week, but there are some really interesting things that are going on in the Big 12, I think, as you know, with Tech and Kansas State and all that. And we'll get to that. But Craig, let's start with West Virginia and the Houston Cougars.
Yeah, 11 a.m. on FS1. This will be part of 2 games getting the day started. Houston, 2 touchdown favorites or just about 2 touchdown favorites now in the top 25. And I think loving life and feeling good and feeling great about their chances to beat West Virginia this weekend. I'm taking the Cougs to keep it rolling. And I think that West Virginia's just got a lot more to look forward to in the offseason as far as kind of getting their full claws sunk into what Rich Rod wants this thing to look like and finding a quarterback to pair with a Scotty Fox, although maybe he's your answer short and long term eventually here. We'll find out, I think, over these next few games. But, give me Houston, and they're pretty overwhelming favorites here.
Yep, I agree with you. Houston rolling along, 13.5-point favorites right now at home. And, they might have a little bit of a slow start or a letdown first start, but they're just too talented compared to West Virginia and what's going on there, in year one of the rebuild. Right here down the road at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, UCF at Baylor. I don't expect a big crowd for this. I don't think a home field advantage is going to be a huge deal, but I do think Baylor is a better team, and they should be able to score like they want to. It's a 3.5-point spread. I think Baylor takes this one, Craig, although I would not be surprised to see UCF keep this thing close.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Sons of UCF, Adam Eaton and those guys. They do a great job. I was on with them last night talking a bit about this game, and I'd said on a podcast earlier in the week that I thought that Baylor was going to win this game, that there's overall a better team if playing at their top capabilities, which they have sometimes done and sometimes they haven't. And here lately they haven't, and they've eaten a couple of losses. And I think if they were to eat another one, as I told those guys last night, I think Dave Aranda's got to be fired if you lose to UCF, Paul.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you come back from that. And it's not an indictment on UCF. It's just, they're not a top-ranked team. They're not somebody that you should be suffering a 3rd consecutive loss to at home on homecoming. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any excuse that can be made to lose this game if you're Dave Aranda and the Bears. So this to me is a must-win, and it's probably well down the list for most people as far as importance. But for Baylor, I think it's a hugely important game that's going to dictate what the head coaching position looks like moving forward. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe they lose and he's still the head coach for the rest of the season. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but I think that would be a final straw for anybody who's still hanging on from a fan or media perspective. Would be you lose to UCF on homecoming and what is probably going to be a terrible crowd. I don't think you can talk or work your way back into getting support back at that stage. And it's already little to begin with. So it's important for that reason. Other than that, it has no big picture ramifications in any way other than, I guess, Baylor really needs a win to just try and maintain the track to bowl eligibility. Mm-hmm. Because if they lose this game, then it gets really dicey. But for UCF, man, they got 5 games left. They win this one, they'd only need 1 more. And if they could make a bowl game in Scott Frost's first year, that'd be a big deal. Now, I don't think they're going to beat Tech and Lubbock. I don't think they're going to beat BYU and Provo. I don't think they're going to beat Houston. So what does that leave them? It leaves them Baylor this weekend, and it leaves them Oklahoma State at home here in about 3 weeks. So there is a path there, especially if they win tomorrow. But if they don't, then it'll be difficult. I'm taking Baylor because I feel like they have to win.
Yeah, I think they have to win. And again, I don't think that anything's going to happen at Baylor unless the wheels come completely off.
Buddy, losing to UCF
that's the
in front of 10 people on homecoming.
That's the wheels off. Yeah. But as long as they're like the car can putter down the road, I don't think they're going to do anything. And I don't know if that's the best course of action.
I don't know how low they plan on sinking, but man, we are rapidly going to find out.
Yeah, it is not good over there right now. Arizona State on the road at Iowa State, TNT and HBO Max. Iowa State now a 7.5-point favorite. No Sam Leavitt. Look, Iowa State's not been rolling along, but with no Sam Leavitt and at home, I think they break out of their doldrums and win this game.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa State's lost 3 games in a row, but they are at home, and Arizona State's as wounded of a duck as you're going to find, I think, at this point. So, yeah, with no Leavitt for sure, because he's going to have surgery now, as Kenny Dillingham informed all of us, and start looking to the future. I think that's a massive blow, and this would be a really alarming loss almost, I think, if you're Iowa State. 4 consecutive, and meanwhile, your coach is being rumored for these head coaching jobs, which I don't know how strong of a contender he really is. He's always like a name mentioned, but he's never a top name mentioned for any of the jobs, but clearly a guy who's probably having information passed along between he and his agent on, who's speculating and whatnot. But man, it's going to be really hard to sell that higher if they're losing 4 and 5 games in a row. So I think it's really important for Iowa State, almost a must-win for them as well. Not that their head coach is on the hot seat, but I think they really got to win this game. And if you lose to a Jeff Sims-led Arizona State team with no Jordan Tyson, and you do so at home, that's just going to be, really, really a low point for the Cyclones. So I don't think they're going to reach that. I think they're going to beat a wounded Arizona State team, and Arizona State's the team that we're starting to watch just see their season kind of fall apart here.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, Texas Tech at Kansas State. Tech 7.5-point favorites. They are in a quagmire when it comes to this game against Kansas State. I think they survive this one. They may not cover because they just have a rough time against Kansas State, and their troubles could start up again next year. But I think this Tech team is just a little bit too good, and they'll win the game. But man, this is one of those things. It is a long streak that Kansas State has, and the wins that Tech has in the last 15 years are few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, I put some stock into that, but also at the same time, I mean, who's losing those games? Cliff Kingsbury? Like, how many jobs ago was that for him? You know, or so. I mean, there's something to that, but I don't put too much weight into that. Unlike the Kansas rivalry, that's something different because that's your little brother, big brother, whatever, looking across. It's a little bit closer to home, and you can't afford things like that. But I think this is a much different Tech team than we've seen in years past. And yes, there's lack of depth now at the quarterback spot suddenly that you were really relying upon heavily so far. But I still will give Tech the win here. I think Baron Morton will be sharp, and they've just got a lot of great players on both sides of the ball. I know K-State's playing better, but I'm not going to go and overmodulate the other direction after oh my God, the sky is falling. Oh, they've won a couple games now. Oh, well, now they're great again. I don't know, but there is optimism to believe that they can pull off the win tomorrow. And I'm very curious to see this game because it is a lot more interesting than we expected it to be just a couple weeks ago.
Yep, absolutely. Number. Next up, Oklahoma State at Kansas. Man, Kansas needs a win in the worst way, and Oklahoma State is the medicine that can help that. They are 24.5-point favorites. I do think they'll win this game at home. Oklahoma State's probably not going to win the rest of the year. So, give me Kansas in this one, and they can take a deep breath for a week.
Yeah, I think they'll win this game. I mean, it's Oklahoma State. That's just kind of what's to be expected at this point. But we're close to the end, Cowboys fans. So, yeah, give me Kansas to win this game. But I do feel like there's a lot of chirping around Lance Leipold and how much is he trying to look at some of these other jobs. And I don't know how much there's actually something to that or just people speculating or not and trying to find reasons why maybe they haven't played that well, as he's distracted or not all in, or I don't know. But just seen a little bit of that conversation creeping up lately, and that comes with the territory of losing games. But I don't think they're going to lose to Oklahoma State. I think they'll get right and get a win and then be right there within striking distance of just needing one more to get to a bowl game.
Yep, absolutely. I keep saying number. Man, Halloween's getting to me. Colorado hosting Arizona. Arizona 4.5-point favorite in this one. I'll take Arizona. I don't know what to make of Colorado. If they win this, I don't know what to make of Arizona. I think Arizona's a little bit better, so I'm picking them to win this game because I don't know what to make of either of them.
Well, there's probably gonna be some of these we get wrong because it's pick all the favorites basically, and then there's always a couple of these that go the opposite way. But it's hard not to pick the favorites in a lot of the cases this week because they're either overwhelming or there's big injuries or just a lot not going right for the other side. But for this one, man, being in Boulder makes me a little bit hesitant. But yeah, this is it's a weird game. I'm gonna take Arizona on the road. I don't feel great about that, but I really had not liked what I've seen from Colorado as of that Utah game. I mean, that was so bad following such a great win over Iowa State that maybe they bounce back and play really, really well. Maybe this is that game. This would be a good candidate for the upset game is Colorado at home. So, yeah, I mean, I'll go Arizona. I do think Arizona's a better overall team, but this would be the one that I'd probably flip-flop on if I had to go put some actual money down on it.
Yeah, it's just I mean, this is two teams that are hard. Like
they're hard to identify.
They're not the same team 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
They haven't been all year. Cincinnati at Utah. Craig, I'm the only one of us that picked Cincinnati. Utah's 10.5-point favorites. I am confident in my assessment that Vegas is dead wrong in this and Cincinnati wins this game.
Fair enough. I should also mention Arizona lost 3 out of their last 4. They've lost back-to-back, so they're not rolling into that one either. So, yeah, that could be one ugly game in Boulder. But regardless, I'm going with Utah at home. I think that they've lost to 2 really good teams in Texas Tech and BYU. I don't think that Cincinnati is some pushover by any means. I think they're a really good football team, but I'm right there with you on the spread being a little wonky. I mean, 10.5-point favorites for a team that's ranked nearly top 15 in the country. That is kind of odd to see, but I'm going to entrust in Vegas here. I mean, I trust my own pick regardless of what the spread was 0. I'd still pick Utah here, but that does make me feel like maybe even a little bit better, but we'll see. Maybe we're woefully wrong, and you can brag about this come Monday, but I'm taking Utah. I think they're a good team. I think Cincinnati's a good team. I think this will be a great game, and I'm just excited to see it. I'm excited to see the quarterback matchup, and this ought to be a lot of fun and clearly a very important game in the conference race because Utah can't afford a third loss, and Cincinnati's unblemished. So if Utah can beat them, give them one, then all of a sudden that top gets even more crowded with just 3 weeks to go. And we could be looking at something really spicy. But if Cincinnati takes care of business, then, man, them and BYU are sitting there potentially at 6-0 with 3 games to play and BYU Tech looming. And does it crack open a door for Tech to get back into it? I don't know. But Cincinnati, there's a lot of teams that would love to see them lose this weekend.
Yeah. Not me, though, because, I need that pick. I need it. I need it bad. All right, let's take a break right here. We'll wait for Mickey. And if he's not there, we'll just continue talking college football for the rest of the show. Next up, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. This is 365 Sports.
PettyClinicLowT.com can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, and used to be. What does that mean? As you get older, Father Time can do some things to you. You know that. It's part of living and getting older, and some things just aren't the same, including your testosterone level can drop. 1 out of every 3 to 4 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone. Your energy is not the same. You just don't feel right. And you might even be active. You might have a really nice diet. You might exercise, all of that, but something just seems to be, what could it be? Could be your testosterone. Your sex drive is not the same. Your performance, if you have that, is not the same. Sometimes even sleep habits. Dr. Kent Petty and his staff can help you out. Contact them, PettyClinicLowT.com. Get in touch with them. They'll set you up to get your blood work. Take care of that. Get the results. And Dr. Kent Petty will get in touch and help you become, with an option, to become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, used to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Hassel, President and CEO of American Bank. Waco is a great place for business, and for more than 70 years, American Bank has been the bank for business. We continue to invest in our growing community with state-of-the-art branches conveniently located to serve you within minutes. Our experienced bankers, lenders, and decision makers work directly with business owners like you every day, providing tailored solutions, timely answers, and local insights face-to-face. Schedule a meeting with one of our bankers today and find out what makes American Bank the bank for your business. Member FDIC.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
This is 365 Sports.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Welcome back, Smokey. Out today because of high school football. And Craig, I thought this story was funny, and not funny, but we finally got an explanation on how Connor Stallions got to the Central Michigan sideline, and he had, which it shouldn't be a surprise, but it was,
I'm so sick of this effing goof, man. But I know it's an interesting story, but man, I do not like this dude.
No, I don't either. But here's how it all went down, and which led to Jim McElwain getting a show cause and all these other things. But unbeknownst to Central Michigan, Jake Costner, a former football assistant coach, had a pre-existing relationship with Stallions. Costner formulated a plan for Stallions to be present on Central Michigan's sideline during its September 1st, 2023 game against Michigan State to identify and decipher play calling signals. Outside of typical procedures for item distribution, Costner asked Nate Mason, former coordinator of athletic equipment operations, for coaching issued gear. Costner did not provide a reason for the request, and then coordinated with Mike McGee, former director of recruiting, to provide the official gear and bench pass access to Stallions, whom Costner had provided an alias so as not to be detected ahead of kickoff. McGee was unaware of whom exactly the gear was for, but knew it was for a friend of Costner's who was skilled in deciphering signals. During the game, Stallions stood in close proximity to McGee and other football staff, and given his staff's direct involvement in the arrangement, Jim McElwain, the former head football coach, is responsible for their violations under the head coach responsibility legislation. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, no, nothing shady at all. Just it's not against the rules, guys. It's not against the rules. We're just having to take all these extreme steps and kind of like lie about what we're doing and what it's for and why we need these things. Or nobody double checks apparently why they're randomly asking for more coaching. I mean, it's not like the biggest thing in the world. But at the same time, like, I just think Connor Stallions is so sleazy, and I've always thought that. I don't like that we continue to give him any type of time, but I understand this is in regards to the investigation and clearing up the Central Michigan side of things. So yeah, we knew that was wonky when it happened. We knew that was him on the sidelines when it happened. There was a lot of like vague, sort of vague reporting on if it was and it wasn't. And like, I don't know, man. I know that the Michigan fans will ride or die for Connor Stallions because he helped them win a national championship. And if the shoe was on the other foot, they would absolutely be losing their damn minds over it if it was Ohio State that had done the same thing. So at least we know that people are hypocrites. But yeah, I'm all for crazy characters in college football. But if we're lining up the guys that toss off the side of the boat and not have to talk about it anymore, Connor Stallions would be near the front of the line for me. Clearly, they were up to some shady business. Not sure it was worth the juice was worth the squeeze for Jim McElwain, obviously. Not sure what good it really did ultimately, but I'm not surprised because everybody, again, it's college sports, college football. People are always looking for an advantage, and this guy pretty clearly had a reputation or knew enough people that knew that he was very good at what he does. Let's give him credit for that. Like, he was very good at figuring out signs and communicating and all of that kind of jazz. So at least we now know the true story on that. And yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I just found his way there. It's like, yeah, well, how do you end up in coaching gear? Have we had an explanation on the sunglasses still yet?
I mean, he could just buy those.
Yeah, but I mean, how those were put to use and all of that. I guess we didn't get that in this report, but yeah, Connor Stallions was cheating as much as cheating is cheating, unless it's not officially like whatever things people try to twist that into to make Michigan the victim here or not at all complicit.
Well, Michigan dropped their appeals the other day.
Yes,
too,
they did.
And which is very telling in that I'm sure they got to a point where, do we really want to go out and say like why we're the victims here?
And I have nothing against Michigan whatsoever.
No,
like I
I
have
don't
no
either,
feeling in the world on them. Like nothing positive or negative. Like they're a great institution, all that. But I just felt like if that had been Ohio State doing the same thing, they would have absolutely lost their ever-loving minds and would have threatened lawsuits with all their bands of lawyers and everything else. But because they did it, they're not going to worry about it. They got their natty, and that's all they care about. And that's ultimately the story of this thing is Michigan got their natty. They're not going to get their natty taken away. And so no matter what happens around that, I don't think they would trade that for anything. No matter how much people bring up Connor Stallions, that trophy's still sitting in that trophy case. And that's all that matters at the end.
Yep. Okay. You want some quick injury updates here, Craig?
Sure.
Before we go to the top five, Arch Manning safety Michael Taff, questionable game time decisions on that. I would think that if you're a game time decision, if you've got a thumb injury opposed to concussion protocol, you're probably more likely to play with a thumb injury. Just my guess, but who knows? Yeah.
I mean, to be still kind of checked out at this point when it comes to concussion, yeah, I'd be a little bit skeptical that Arch may be playing tomorrow, but Michael Taff, that would be either. And I don't want to poo-poo Arch. Like, he's definitely their best option. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the starting quarterback and wouldn't have been the guy that they've been relying on since Ewers last year to be the next man up. So clearly they're better with him. I just don't feel like they've been winning a lot of their games offensively, even though he does make a throw here and there that is something that factors in. That's of note because this is a Texas team that's kind of wobbly for sure, and those are two big-time playmakers for them.
Cade Klubnik is on track to make his return. He missed the SMU game. His mobility could be a concern, but he's listed as probable on the ACC availability report. That's good news for Clemson as they surprisingly now fight towards bowl eligibility. But Cade Klubnik is back this week, even though their season is long since done based on their goals.
And based on his, he's been a non-factor in the big picture conversation when it comes to the Heisman national championship race, all that. Yeah, Clemson and Cade Klubnik, great story this offseason. Just a reminder when we get into this next offseason and whoever those teams of the offseason are, Texas, Clemson, right? Who else? There's a lot of them that are. Penn State, another one of those. So there's going to be 2 or 3 that we hear nothing but how great they're going to be for an entire 8 months, and then they get here and reality sets in. But boy, did they get their squeeze in the offseason. So, yeah, Clemson was one of those teams. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. We all thought they'd be better than they are. Maybe some took it past where I would, where they were being deemed like the best team in the country. But there were a lot of reasons to believe in them. And, it's turned into the complete opposite of what most people expected. So, big game with Duke. They really kind of need this one. You're going to get an automatic win against Furman coming up here with your ACC special type of a game, but you got South Carolina on the road. You got Louisville on the road, FSU coming up. So they're going to be playing it pretty close with bowl eligibility. And if they don't win tomorrow, then I don't think they're going to get bowl eligible.
Yeah. They probably won't. Last, but maybe least, I don't know. Auburn, also a team that is very disappointed. And Hugh Freeze is, probably sweating it out each week. Ashton Daniels has taken the share of the first team reps at quarterback, but Hugh Freeze has yet to name his starting quarterback. But if he's taken, a share, I don't know, we'll probably see 2 quarterbacks against Arkansas, or Arkansas this week, Kentucky, or Arkansas last week, Kentucky this week.
I think pretty clear they're out on Jackson Arnold as being the guy. So only makes sense that Ashton Daniels is getting more reps. And I think that, that'll be something interesting to follow along with. I mean, where's Jackson Arnold's career go from here?
Yeah, I mean, where do you transfer to next?
Going to North Texas or somewhere like that? I mean, probably should be his next move, right? I don't think you have anything guaranteed anywhere else. But, yeah, not playing out the dream scenario of when they got that win against Baylor in the opener and then looked like they might actually be a pretty good team. And it's just been devastating loss and devastating loss and devastating loss and poor performances, especially Jackson Arnold trying to throw the football. So not a shocker there, but very curious of what his future holds and Auburn's future for that matter holds, depending on how they finish this thing out.
And just a quick, interesting story. Tonight, Syracuse plays North Carolina. They are starting true freshman walk-on and also lacrosse star, two-sport athlete Joseph Filardi at quarterback tonight. Ricky Collins 0-4 since he's been thrust into the starting role after Steve Angeli's injury. So true freshman walk-on. The last time I heard those words were Baker Mayfield.
I think there's probably been a couple since then, but no, I struggle to think of who would have been that since then. But yeah, Baker took that to another level, obviously. And yeah, Joe Filardi, good luck to you. Apparently really good at lacrosse. We'll see how good he is at football, though. And very interesting opportunity for him. And Syracuse has been it was sort of expected to be a down year, and that's what it's turned into. But if you think it can't get worse for Belichick, how about losing to a true freshman walk-on quarterback? That'd be one way for it to get worse for Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. So we'll see if that happens this weekend.
Absolutely. When we come back, the top 5 and the carnival. This is 365 Sports.
What I love most about playing basketball is the competition. I really just like being shifted, mastering hesitation moves, changing direction, building chemistry with new teammates. If you're not having fun while you're playing, there's no point in playing the game. You know what to do. Escape Basic. Pair of Thieves Quick Dry Underwear. It wicks away sweat and helps keep you dry. You looking forward to fishing season?
The game-winning play right here in my hand. The spices dancing on my taste buds. The crispness is unreal. The crunch giving away to that tender, succulent meat. The magical wood-fired flavor from the Pit Boss. It's like a celebration of barbecue in my mouth. A touchdown of taste. A championship of flavor. It's a symphony of taste and texture. Touchdown! The ultimate game day feast. Only on Pit Boss.
At Prime Putt, we obsessed over every little detail. Working with experts to innovate something as simple as a putting mat. We focused on the things that mattered most to golfers. Wanting to lower their scores. Perfect feedback. Developing good form. Lifetime durability. Prime Putt is a mat that will perform perfectly and last forever. PrimePutt.com.
A leader within the industry, Respawn fuses more than 75 years of ergonomic expertise with gaming culture to create best-in-class chairs. We believe that comfort and performance should be inclusively designed into every gaming chair we create, which is why we're immersed in the gaming community. Respawn is for every gamer. Our products are for professionals and casual players and everyone in between. We don't just make good-looking gear, we bring experience. Visit respawnproducts.com today and find your chair for the next great adventure.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Pill, pour, blend, and enjoy. All within the comfort of my own home.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Peel, blend, and enjoy. Fast and easy, and I'm out the door.
SoftwareDeals.com is here for one reason: to partner with IT professionals and provide them with fantastic software and licensing at ridiculously low prices. We don't have the overhead of a multinational, publicly traded tycoon corporation. We can afford to give those savings to you and your buyers. We know the struggles of small businesses and what it takes to stay afloat in a competitive marketplace.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5.
Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5, presented by Flag and Anthem. Go to flagandanthem.com and use our promo code 365sports for a discount at checkout. Today, mistakes made in coaching searches. I didn't just do this because of LSU. I did this because this happens a lot. LSU just seems to be making all of them at once. So I wanted to just give a roadmap for fans out there to see if you see these things happening in your coaching search, your team might be making a mistake. I almost sound like a Jeff Foxworthy bit there, and I'm sorry. But here we go. Number 5, bidding wars. Look, I don't mean to belittle the skills of any given coach, but there are lots of coaches out there. Do not get yourself in a bidding war with another school. For example, Lane Kiffin has his opportunity to have a bidding war between 3 schools. That's good for him, but probably bad for any of the 3 schools, LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss, where he currently is, for that, because he will be able to charge you well above market price for a guy who is yet to win a conference or national title. Now, he's got things rolling, but remember, when you are bidding on a guy like Lane Kiffin, see what he's done or how close you feel he really is, and know that, like, he might be worth a lot, but double check that resume before you decide we have to make sure that we don't play against this guy anymore. Here's the deal. No matter what happens, you're probably playing against him anyway if you lose out. So don't be crazy about it. Just don't be crazy about it. Number 4, people who want influence. The avatar for this is Buddy from Friday Night Lights. He actually did have influence.
He did.
He had a lot of influence. But people who want to be Buddy. And sometimes people are Buddy already. And those people can be scary too. But the ones who really decide, I've got the money now, I'm going to push my ideas on this thing, aren't always necessarily the best people to listen to. Now, look, you want their money. They need their money right now, so it's hard not to. But when the people who want to influence it get too involved, these things go off the rails, even for the guy that they want to hire, because now they feel that coach should be beholden to them because they made it happen. So be wary of these things. Number 3, letting politicians anywhere near it. This gave me a second opportunity to use this picture I made on ChatGPT of Jeff Landry as a clown, but letting politicians anywhere near it, letting politicians talk about it. They don't know. They don't know. This is not their field of expertise. Look, Tommy Tuberville was a coach, and if he wanted to get involved in any coaching search, I still wouldn't let him do it because, I can see his coaching record. I can see the way he did things. Unless it's Tom Osborne, who then became an AD after he was a politician, I would not listen to them. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to a guy. And look, I'm not even trying to discredit his credentials for governor, which I totally could. But look, he was the attorney general in Louisiana. Good for you. You were a good attorney. Does that mean that you know everything there is to know about picking a football coach and the long-term ramifications of every decision you make? No, it does not. It means that you're a friggin' lawyer. So be a lawyer. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. I would worry about this, but for other states, but Louisiana is uniquely positioned in that they only have one big major school that's in a major conference. Mm-hmm. So this is why this happens there and not in Alabama, not in Georgia, not in Florida, not in South Carolina, not in Texas, because you can't be too favorable to one or the other. You got to just kind of leave it out. So this happens in Louisiana. It's unique to Louisiana. It doesn't really happen anywhere else. Number 2, following the crowd like lemmings over the cliff. Look, and this kind of goes back to the bidding war thing a little bit. Okay, if you know that everybody wants Lane Kiffin, all right, look, he's a really good coach. Okay, he's a really good coach. And I'm not even trying to belittle Lane Kiffin here. I don't want to. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's probably one day going to break through and win some stuff. But Do your work, man. As an AD, as a committee, figure out who the best coaches are. Kalen DeBoer does not have, actually maybe has a better resume now than Lane Kiffin. And where was he a few years ago? He came out of the smaller ranks. Lance Leipold is the first person that makes you think Kansas is going to win games. Where did he come from? Matt Campbell, same at Iowa State. There are other options. So if you're Penn State and you're dead set on getting a winner, well, there's people who win at other levels that if you gave them the same structure and money that you have and they put their system into place, it'll probably work. Like Bob Chesney at James Madison. Guess what? Kurt Signetti is now one of the richest coaches in the land because he knows how to do just that, and he's got Indiana winning. They didn't even like oblong ball sports before Kurt Signetti got there. They were all about basketball. He's made them okay with being mediocre at basketball. You know why? Because Indiana said, who can we get? What makes sense? Kurt Signetti, good. That was very smart of them. And number one, big game hunting. This, again, kind of ties in, but if you've decided that your search is going to be big, don't be surprised if what you wind up with is a disappointment. I will give you an example from the way back years. When Steve Spurrier left Florida to go take the Washington Redskins head coaching job, Florida had a list that was John Gruden, Mike Shanahan, the Lord Jesus Christ, Gandhi, like whoever to be the coach. It was all like huge names that they weren't going to get because the prior several things had happened. They got big boosters involved. Oh, well, Mike Shanahan's available right now. He's always wanted to be a college coach. No, he just left the Broncos after winning a couple Super Bowls and, or I think he might have still been with the Broncos. Like, you're not getting Mike Shanahan away from the NFL, and I thought they could get him because John Elway just retired. Well, that wound up with them getting Ron Zook, a guy who could recruit. Now, let me tell you, Ron Zook could recruit, but the Ron Zook era was, not good. I mean, they were not good. Mississippi State beat them in one game in a 2-minute drill and didn't throw a pass. I mean, that was how bad their defense was. So you wind up with Ron Zook, who shouldn't really be a college head coach. He's a special teams coordinator and a good one and a good recruiter. Actually, right now, I think Ron Zook could do well as somebody's GM. The guy can recruit, but when it comes to putting that talent all together and making it work, but that's what happens when you just solely big game hunt. You have to look for those diamonds in the rough. There are guys at the G6 level. There are guys at the other levels that could really do a good job for you, and you need to look them up. You got to do it. And don't be afraid to take a chance on a coordinator either who's ready. Don't be afraid of that. But this is all going on at LSU right now, all at once, and I hope it stops for their sake. We'll see. Well, that's going to do it for the top 5. Andrew Verlade's Halloween Carnival starts right now. I feel good about this wheel spin. I feel really good about it. Okay. If you had a time machine, what one game would you travel back to see live?
Great question. Need a second to think about it unless you've got one off the top of your head.
No, I do too. I mean, there's so many that I would. Maybe one of the like Cowboys Super Bowls in the 70s with Roger Staubach. I would probably pick one of those.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Man, I don't know. I don't know what I would go back to.
I mean, do I go see? I mean, there's a lot. Do I go see Hank Aaron? Do I go see Babe Ruth?
I mean, I can't even single down to a specific sport yet. So, I don't know. I might need to think about this over the weekend a little bit because I'm thinking of like what Rangers game would I go? What Commanders game would I have gone to? I mean, maybe Oklahoma beating Florida State. There we go. Oklahoma beating Florida State in the national championship game. So that was the last natty they won. Been 25 years since then.
Here's what you can do. Go back and find me outside and tell me to go home.
Okay.
I'll give you my ticket. Like, hey,
I'll just switch spots with you.
We're going to be friends and coworkers in the future. I'm just telling you, I've come back in time to warn you, you're not going to like this.
Yeah, there's not something specifically great about that game. I mean, outside of winning a natty, but yeah, that's I mean, I don't think there's any Rangers game I would go back to, or forget the Mavericks at this point. That's totally off the plate for me. So yeah, I think maybe it'd be something like that. Just like, hey, go back to when they last won a natty, since it's been so damn long, and remember how great that feeling was, because I don't know if I'll ever experience it again, to be real clear about it. There's always the chance, I suppose, but at this stage, like the Nebraskas, the Oklahomas, like how many natties are they winning anymore? There's certainly not as many as they were winning in the 80s and 90s and the 70s and all that. So yeah, I think that'd be my answer for right now.
All right, let's go to the first trivia question. On Halloween night in 1969, LSU legend, or 1959? 1959, sorry. In 1959, Billy Cannon made one of the most famous plays in college football history, returning an 89-yard punt to secure a win over this team. My gosh.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I'm going to just guess Ole Miss.
That's exactly what popped into my head, too.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I don't know if it's because they're in black and white or not, but I just, for some reason, Ole Miss popped into my head.
Yeah, I'm going to say Ole Miss just on a wild-ass guess.
We own you. We own you, Andrew.
There you go. Craig,
now we're going to miss this next one. But,
yeah, Craig, take it away.
Billy Cannon, he'll go back. 89-yard punt return against Ole Miss on October 31st, 59. LSU 7-3 win in a defensive thriller. Yeah, I think a defensive thriller, and I always go back to the LSU-Bama national title game after we were told how great they were. It was like the worst, most boring game. Now, I know there were people that will argue it was great defense and it was actually very entertaining. Like, I didn't think so at all. But anyways, Tigers' only touchdown of the night became the defining moment of Cannon's Heisman Trophy season. Play remains one of the most iconic highlights in the LSU Ole Miss rivalry, forever known in Baton Rouge as the Halloween runs. I'd never heard of the Halloween run, I don't think. So now I know. Billy Cannon against Ole Miss. Okay.
Garrett, if we got you a Billy Cannon throwback jersey for Christmas, would you rock it?
Hell yeah, I'd rock it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Just, I mean, I'm pricing it out right now, so we'll see. We might do Secret Santa or something this year. Okay, what's next? Founded in 1906, the NCAA was created to tackle this terrifying problem haunting college football. Refs making phantom calls, fans writing at games, footballs kept exploding, or players dying on the field. Craig, I know this one. I read a book about it and how Teddy Roosevelt, put people in a room, but it is players dying on the field.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think, I don't know what the NCAA would do about fans rioting at games. That'd be more the police, right?
Yeah.
Would have something to say about that.
Well, they haven't been able to stop that since.
Yeah, not at Virginia games. But no, I think that would have been more a police thing. So that immediately popped out to me. The footballs kept exploding. That would have been something I feel like I would have probably heard about at some point. And then refs making phantom calls. We still see that today. So if the NCAA was in charge of doing that, well, they haven't done their job, because I've still seen that. But I saw that last weekend, as a matter of fact, and the weekend before, and the weekend before that. But yeah, players dying on the field. You seem pretty positive about that. And that's the one that makes the most sense here as far as what a real need would be to create something like that. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's go to the polls. All right. We're on a roll this week. It's only going to get tragic after this. Which dead and buried?
Go back.
Go back. Oh, sorry, you didn't read the thing.
Yeah, players dying on the field at the start of the 20th century. Football is brutally dangerous. 18 deaths, 159 serious injuries in the 1904 season alone. Jeez Louise, 18 deaths. Wow. Public outrage over these fatalities led Theodore Roosevelt and college leaders to push for reform, creating the IAAUS in 06, precursor to the NCAA to make the game safer. Oh, Teddy Roosevelt, one of the great presidents.
The GOAT, the greatest president of all time.
Yeah, what a call. Could he have done it after 16 deaths? Probably. Could have brought maybe a little sooner, but hey, they got around to it. So that's good. And the NCAA's been perfect ever since.
Now, what I do think about that, why he waited, I don't think Teddy Roosevelt was a bit of a hard ass on things. And I don't know if he thought that death was really the worst thing that could happen.
Well, that's
but a lot of people were complaining about it.
Right.
He really loved the game. So he he stuck up for it and said, yeah, it's probably not good that people die playing it. We need to figure out some rules. There also weren't uniform rules. Like they would make like if you and I were coaches on the team, we would come and be like, okay, what are the rules for today? So that's also when they came up with uniform rules. Also a good way to keep people from dying in anything is having a uniform set of rules. Next up is the poll questions, which dead and buried Big 12 team rises from the grave next year. West Virginia at 46%, Colorado at 31%, and Oklahoma State at 23%. Yeah, I think I don't know, Colorado might have a little bit of a jump on that, but we have to see what happens with Deion in the offseason. I'm concerned about his health, but West Virginia, the overwhelming winner here, Craig.
I actually would put Colorado last on this. I think there's a lot of question marks post Shador, Travis Hunter, and that whole deal, and this is a year where you knew they were going to have to work out some things, not having kind of those safety blankets and talent around, but I still think they're a very talented team. I'm with you. Like, I wonder about Deion's long-term, and he hasn't indicated in any way that he's not going to be the coach there next year, but there are a lot of jobs open too. Like who's to say, and they lose Deion, then that takes, more wind out of their sails than in any other scenario, maybe the entire country. But I think they'll be able to pull in some talent, but a lot of that depends on the head coach. I think West Virginia will be very active in the portal. I think Oklahoma State could bounce back really quickly, although they've got a lot of work to do depending on the coach. But this doesn't take 2-3 years to get a team back to being competitive. So just hire the right guy and you can get there in no time. But I guess, yeah, West Virginia probably makes the most sense because of the fact that Oklahoma State is so far down the ladder and has so much work to do that it seems like probably a bridge too far to expect him to do that all in just a few months. And Colorado, like I said, I'm not super high on just the future at the moment. So West Virginia, that's not a bad call.
Okay, next up, and the last thing we got, which company makes the best Halloween candy? Mars, Hershey, Nestle, or Nabisco? Hershey won this one going away. I'm going to say Mars, in my opinion. That's who I voted for. They make M&Ms. That's my favorite. Also, they live here in Waco, so I'm not going to start a fight with people who are, my neighbors on this one.
I'll go Hershey's. They got more of what I like, Reese's Cups and Hershey regular bars and stuff like that. Yeah, I definitely prefer their offerings, although I'll take a good Crunch Bar like that. I'm all about some plain M&Ms, especially some peanut butter M&Ms are good too. So there's not bad offerings there, but yeah, give me Hershey.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Happy Halloween and welcome into the studio. Young Parker Ross is here in costume. Come on. Garrett, can you bring him over here so people can see? Yeah, bring Parker over here. You got to put your mask on, bud. People want to see the costume. So in costume, ready to trick or treat. Here we go. Right here. Come here, buddy. Come here. All right. Look right down into there. There we go. Here, put your mask on. There we go. Parker.
It's scary.
Parker's
it's too scary for me. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Parker's ready to go. All right. Parker, tell everybody happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.